Chapter 1289. Chu Fengmian flew at full speed with the power of Tianlong transformation and arrived at the edge of the Nether Ghost realm after 10 hours. The young emperor was burning with rage, and Chu Fengmian dared not provoke him. The bronze heavenly demon skeleton was something the young emperor was determined to obtain, but Chu Fengmian had plotted against it, and it had fallen into his hands. Chu Fengmian could clearly sense the young emperor's anger without thinking. Now it was best to avoid him. Taking a treasure from the young emperor was almost an audacious thing to do. With the young emperor's full strength, Chu Fengmian would undoubtedly die in one strike. However, riches and honor came with danger. Chu Fengmian's harvest this time was worth the risk. In a cave. The cave surroundings were densely packed with formations and restrictions that shielded its aura. Even the ancient river sword formation, formed by 7 spiritual swords outside the cave, was set up by Chu Fengmian as a precaution. After doing all this carefully, Chu Fengmian's mind suddenly stirred. A bronze statue suddenly appeared in front of him. The bronze heavenly demon skeleton. Now, the bronze heavenly demon skeleton no longer had the terrifying demonic aura. It looked extraordinary. However, Chu Fengmian knew very well that the bronze heavenly demon skeleton was still a supreme treasure, even after 1,000,000 or 10,000,000 years had passed. The divine tree? Chu Fengmian took out the bronze heavenly demon skeleton and was still observing it. All of a sudden, Chu Fengmian felt a strong desire coming from his body. This desire did not come from anything else, but from the tree of God. What's going on? Does the divine tree want to devour the bronze heavenly demon skeleton? Chu Fengmian's mind went blank. This was the first time Chu Fengmian felt such a strong desire from the divine tree. Although the divine tree liked to devour blood essence, it was a far cry from what it was feeling now. If Chu Fengmian could refine the bronze heavenly demon skeleton, it might be enough for him to comprehend the power of the heavenly demon. After all, the bronze heavenly demon was one of the 10 heavenly demons who had stepped into the celestial realm. Even if Chu Fengmian could comprehend 1/10 or even 100th of its power, it would still be no problem for him to compete with someone like Shao Di. But now, the sacred tree also wanted to obtain the bronze heavenly demon's remains. This caused Chu Fengmian to be in a difficult position. However, Chu Fengmian thought for a moment and quickly made a decision. After all, Chu Fengmian was not a demon, nor did he intend to become a demonic cultivator. Even if he had comprehended the origin of the bronze heavenly demon skeleton, his strength was still far from Chu Fengmian's. It was better to give it to the divine tree. The divine tree was the source of Chu Fengmian's power. No matter how strong a warrior demon god was, they still needed a corporeal body. The divine tree was Chu Fengmian's corporeal body. The stronger the divine tree was, the more benefits Chu Fengmian would reap. Swallow. In the blink of an eye, Chu Fengmian grabbed the bronze heavenly demon skeleton and swallowed it into his body. He then came to the divine tree. Sensing the power of the bronze heavenly demon skeleton, Chu Fengmian could feel the supreme joy of the divine tree. Vines were wrapped around the bronze heavenly demon skeleton. Crack! Thanks to the countless vines, the bronze heavenly demon skeleton suddenly exploded and turned into crystal fragments. Chu Fengmian's eyes swept over the fragments. These crystals were a whole yuan technique. There were a total of 129,600 crystals in total. The bronze heavenly demon skeleton was actually made up of pieces of crystal fragments. Each crystal fragment was a unique individual when taken out individually. However, once they were combined, they would become a whole, a flawless whole. What realm is this? Immortal true body? This body has reached a state of perfection. Is this the legendary immortal real body? Chu Fengmian's heart was in a perilous situation. Even an extreme immortal weapon would not be able to break the bronze heavenly demon skeleton in the slightest. Once the crystals on the surface gathered together, they would become a single entity that could not be separated. Unless all 129,600 crystals on the surface were shattered, it would be impossible to shake this body. In terms of physical strength, Chu Fengmian's body was almost strong enough to laugh at the Emperor realm. With the roots of the divine tree tightly wrapped around his body, his physical strength was enough to surpass that of Emperor Gu's. However, compared to the bronze heavenly demon skeleton in front of him, Chu Fengmian's body was simply too fragile. There was no comparison between the two. It was no wonder that the bronze heavenly demon skeleton had not decayed for 1,000,000 years. This body was no longer a body of flesh and blood, but had surpassed the category of flesh and blood. It had reached a state of immortality. The crystals in front of him seemed to be forged by heaven and earth. They were more mysterious than any spirit artifact and had no weakness. However, the bronze heavenly demon skeleton in front of him didn't have a single weakness. There wasn't a single flaw in it, and it was flawless. Is the divine tree going to devour these crystals? Chu Fengmian exclaimed. Suddenly, he saw the divine tree waving its vines and sweeping away the crystals. As soon as the crystals fused with the god tree, they were actually devoured by the god tree. Crack, crack. The moment the perfect crystals were devoured by the divine tree, countless cracks suddenly appeared on them. Then, they shattered one by one and turned into pure energy that was devoured by the divine tree. At the same time, Chu Fengmian could feel that his body was undergoing an earth-shaking change because of the integration of these crystals. What kind of existence is this divine tree? Even this immortal real body can't withstand the devouring of the divine tree? The moment Chu Fengmian saw the immortal real body, he seemed to have a feeling that there was no power in the world that could harm it. However, these crystals were extremely fragile in front of the divine tree and could be devoured at will. Chu Fengmian suddenly had a feeling in his mind that the divine tree might be more powerful than he had imagined. An endless stream of crystals were devoured by the divine tree. Chu Fengmian could see with his own eyes that the divine tree was becoming bigger and bigger. At the same time, even Chu Fengmian's body was undergoing changes. Chapter 1290. What's going on? Why is my body changing? Chu Fengmian had thought that the divine tree would only strengthen itself after devouring the bronze heavenly demon skeleton. However, this time, it was completely different from before. As the godly tree devoured and refined the crystals, Chu Fengmian's body began to change. His flesh and blood kept condensing and transforming. Chu Fengmian's body was twitching involuntarily. His body was expanding and transforming again and again, and he was enduring great pain every time. It was an extreme pain that Chu Fengmian had never experienced before. What made Chu Fengmian feel no pain was that he couldn't stop the pain at all. His body seemed to have broken away from his control and was expanding and reforming again and again. 2 hours passed. Inside the cave, Chu Fengmian's flesh and blood had undergone hundreds of changes. Every change seemed to be changing Chu Fengmian's flesh and blood. After 2 hours, Chu Fengmian's flesh and blood were completely different from before. Finally, I've endured it. 2 hours later, Chu Fengmian finally sensed that the changes in his body had finally stopped. Even though Chu Fengmian had endured countless pains in his life, the pain of his flesh and blood transformation was still somewhat unbearable. It had already surpassed the pain of the flesh. Perhaps some of the weaker warriors wouldn't be able to bear it and would die from the pain. Let's see what's happening. Under such pain, Chu Fengmian had no time to observe what was happening to his body. When he came to, he hurriedly released his spiritual consciousness to observe his body. Immortal true body? Could it be that my body has transformed into an immortal real body? Chu Fengmian observed his body and said in disbelief. Chu Fengmian's body was now divided into 129,600 crystals. All of his flesh and blood had turned into hexagonal crystals. It was very similar to the bronze heavenly demon skeleton that Chu Fengmian saw just now. It was just that the bronze heavenly demon skeleton's crystals were no longer flesh and blood, but a kind of jade-like material. Chu Fengmian's crystals were still flesh and blood. This was something that only the legendary immortal true body could achieve. Condense. Chu Fengmian's mind quietly moved. Under Chu Fengmian's control, these crystals suddenly began to condense. 129,600 crystals immediately gathered together. Under Chu Fengmian's control, the crystals gathered together to form a perfect and flawless formation. In Chu Fengmian's body, there wasn't the slightest flaw or weakness. Undying true body. This was the level of the undying true body. The legendary immortal true body was flawless, without a single flaw. It would not have such a weakness, and no attacks would be able to leave a mark on it. For example, many venerable sovereigns and even heavenly beings had experienced countless life and death battles. Perhaps their bodies would be left with injuries from the past. These injuries were the weakest parts of their bodies. They were also their weaknesses. Once they were in a battle of the same level, if their weaknesses were struck, they would be consigned to eternal damnation. Once an immortal true body was achieved, it would be completely different. An immortal true body would be forever flawless and close to perfection unless it was directly destroyed by supreme divine power. However, a true immortal true body should be like the bronze heavenly demon skeleton, showing a crystalline and translucent jade-like state. Although Chu Fengmian's flesh and blood had turned into crystals, these crystals were still made of flesh and blood. This also proved that Chu Fengmian hadn't really reached the level of an immortal true body. There was still a long way to go. Rumor has it that the crystals of a true, deathless true body are the eyes of a spell formation. 129,600 of them are enough to form a huge spell formation, which can be used to bolster the body and allow it to withstand repeated attacks. As of now, I can't do that. Chu Fengmian felt that his current physical body had only touched the edge of the immortal true body. He was half a step into it, and still had a long way to go to reach the true, immortal true body. However, compared to other demon gods, Chu Fengmian's physical body had reached an amazing level. Even Emperor Gu of the Nine Tribulations couldn't be as perfect as Chu Fengmian in terms of physical body. After all, if one wanted to completely destroy Chu Fengmian's physical body, they would have to destroy all 129,600 crystals. Even Emperor Gu might not be able to do this. Only the Nine Tribulations, Emperor Gu of the Nine Tribulations, could possibly do it. I didn't expect that after letting the divine tree devour the bronze, heavenly demon skeleton, my body would develop toward the level of an immortal true body. Chu Fengmian wasn't surprised to see this result. An immortal true body. Chu Fengmian had only read about it in ancient books. It was said that even many celestial beings and mythological lands experts hadn't condensed an immortal true body. Only a small number of experts had the opportunity to condense an immortal true body. After all, the bronze heavenly demon was one of the 10 heavenly demons. Only the ancestor of the demon race had reached the level of an immortal true body. Although Chu Fengmian had only touched the entrance of an immortal true body, he had already surpassed countless sovereigns and even many celestial beings. As long as Chu Fengmian's strength continued to improve, he would be able to transform his body into a true immortal true body one day. Moreover, even now, Chu Fengmian's half-step immortal true body was still very useful in terms of protecting his life. This time, even if he was hunted down by experts at the level of Emperor Gu, Chu Fengmian had the ability to escape unscathed. I've gained a lot this time. Condensing a half-step immortal true body was definitely a pleasant surprise for Chu Fengmian. He hadn't thought of this when he seized the bronze heavenly demon skeleton. It could be said that it was by chance. Although the bronze heavenly demon skeleton had been devoured by the divine tree, Chu Fengmian didn't regret it. Reaching the threshold of an immortal true body was much more useful than obtaining several secret skills and cultivation methods. Chapter 1291. Chu Fengmian had stepped into the half-step immortal realm after absorbing the bronze heavenly devil skeleton from the divine tree. His body was comparable to Emperor Gu's. It could even be said that Emperor Gu's body wasn't as perfect as Chu Fengmian's. Below Emperor Gu's level, Chu Fengmian could sweep through anyone. Right now, Chu Fengmian had no problem tearing apart a three-tribulation true emperor with his bare hands. Such strength was enough to look down on the newcomers this year. Young Master Mu wasn't even an ant in front of Chu Fengmian. However, There were many more terrifying geniuses in the Sacred Dragon's secret domain. It was said that the most talented core disciples in the Sacred Dragon's secret domain could contend against a sixth tribulation true emperor at the quasi-emperor realm. However, many of these core disciples had already been at the quasi-emperor realm for several hundred years. They had even deliberately suppressed their cultivation and used the resources of the Holy Dragon's secret realm to continuously accumulate strength. That was how they managed to reach their current strength. Currently, Chu Fengmian was only a newcomer. Once Chu Fengmian entered the Sacred Dragon Mystery Realm and obtained the resources there, his strength would increase to another level. At that time, Chu Fengmian would not fear even those core disciples. I wonder how many demonic bones there are in Shui Gongzi's empty ring. 5 days have already passed. Chu Fengmian calculated that he had been in the Nether Ghost realm for 5 days now. There were only 2 days left before the deadline. Chu Fengmian didn't forget his goal in coming to the Nether Ghost realm. He wanted to pass the test of the Sacred Dragon's secret domain and compete for the top spot. Although the top 2,000 were qualified to enter the Sacred Dragon's secret domain, Chu Fengmian had already told him that Chu Fengmian wanted to enter the secret domain. However, Luya had told Chu Fengmian that the higher one's ranking was, the more benefits they would receive. Especially the top spot. The top spot would receive heaven-shaking resources. Chu Fengmian had to fight for the top spot. It would be too late for Chu Fengmian to hunt down the demonic beast by himself. Furthermore, the young emperor was currently enraged. Chu Fengmian didn't want to provoke him at this time. However, after Chu Fengmian had killed the Bloody Prince, he had also taken his empty ring. Don't disappoint me. Chu Fengmian was filled with anticipation as he took out the Blood Prince's spatial ring. With the Blood Prince dead, the restrictions on the spatial ring were all broken. Chu Fengmian poured his spiritual energy into it. The spatial ring was opened by injecting spiritual power. What entered Chu Feng's eyes was a mountain of demonic bones. Each demonic bone was only a few meters long at most. However, the demonic bones before him were so densely packed that they formed a mountain. At a glance, the empty ring was filled to the brim with demonic bones. How much is this? When Chu Fengmian saw so many devil bones, he was stunned. Chu Fengmian couldn't count the number at a glance. After using his spiritual sense to carefully examine the area, Chu Fengmian saw that there were at least 10 million devil bones. 10 million demonic bones. It had to be known that when Chu Fengmian killed Lin Shui, he had only obtained 100,000 devil bones. That number was something Chu Fengmian couldn't gather even if he slaughtered for 7 days and 7 nights. Now, Blood Prince's empty ring had millions of demonic bones. Seeing this, Chu Fengmian's lips finally curled into a smile. This time, Chu Fengmian would definitely be first place. Even young Master Mu, who had countless martial artists from Monarch Mu's association to hunt for him, could not surpass this number. It had to be known that young Master Mu had used a secret technique to control tens of thousands of martial artists and demon gods. They had been hunting for him, which was why he had such a shocking number. Of course, the grades of these demonic bones were very low. After all, the martial artists and demon gods controlled by Blood Prince were only average in strength. However, this number was enough to crush everything. Other than these demonic bones, let's see if there's anything else. Chu Fengmian continued to observe Blood Prince's empty ring. Other than the mountain of demonic bones, Chu Fengmian also discovered several gourds of various sizes. These gourds were called Qinquan gourds. Chu Fengmian was no stranger to them. Back when he killed Lin Shui and the others, Chu Fengmian had also discovered such gourds. They were used to store elixirs. Open. Chu Fengmian pointed his finger and opened one of the Qinquan gourds. Immediately, a medicinal fragrance filled the air. In this Qinquan gourd, there were countless colorless elixirs the size of longans. They contained the 5 elements spirit. 5 elements great elixirs. These elixirs were unique to the Avalon of 5 elements. They were 5 elements great elixirs. This Qinquan gourd was filled to the brim with such 5 elements great elixirs. There were a total of 10,000 elixirs neatly placed inside. If this was converted to contribution points, it would be 10,000 contribution points. Blood Prince's wealth was indeed shocking. Chu Fengmian could not help but sigh. When Chu Fengmian killed Lin Shui and the others, there were only 3,005 elements great elixirs in their empty rings. Now, there were more than 10,005 elements great elixirs in Blood Prince's empty ring. Moreover, Chu Fengmian could see more than 10 Chinquan gourds. Get out of my way. Chu Fengmian grabbed another Chinquan gourd and opened it. This Chinquan gourd was smaller than the previous one. There were 5,005 elements great elixirs in it. There were also some bigger Chinquan gourds that contained 20,005 elements great elixirs. There were a total of 13 Chinquan gourds of various sizes. There were a total of 150,005 elements great elixirs. Suddenly rich. There was only one word in Chu Fengmian's mind. 150,005 elements great elixirs. This was a huge amount of wealth. Many of the true disciples in the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension might not even have such a shocking amount of wealth. Killing Blood Prince was more profitable than killing a true disciple in the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension. There is one last gourd. There were a total of 14 gourds in Blood Prince's empty ring. Chu Fengmian had opened 13 of them. They were all filled with 5 elements great elixirs. Chu Fengmian had never seen the last gourd. It was also a Chinquan gourd. However, compared to the other 13 gourds, it was of a much higher grade. Open. Chu Fengmian grabbed the Chinquan gourd and opened it again. The moment the Chinquan gourd was opened, a glaring 5-colored light flew out. This 5-colored light was formed from the 5 elements spiritual energy. It was formed from the purest 5 elements spiritual energy. When the gourd was opened, the 5 elements spiritual energy broke through the air. This made Chu Fengmian even more curious about what was in the Chinquan gourd. When the Chinquan gourd was opened, the space was huge. It was not as crowded as the previous gourds. Chapter 1292. 5 Elemental Saint Elixir Pills. Chu Fengmian took a look and recognized the 500 Longan-sized elixir pills. What kind of elixir pills were they? Regardless of whether it was in the Avalon of 5 elements or the Holy Dragon Secret Dimension, the elixir pills used for cultivation were divided into 3 categories: Great Elixir, Saint Elixir, and Emperor Elixir. 105 elemental Great Elixir pills were worth 1 5 elemental Saint Elixir pill. 10,005 elemental Saint Elixir pills were worth 1 5 elemental Emperor Elixir pill. During the Holy Dragon Secret Dimensions assessment, Emerald Sky Emperor Gu had promised that every disciple who entered the Holy Dragon Secret Dimension would receive a Jade Dragon Saint Elixir pill. This had caused countless demon gods to go crazy. Now, there were 505 elemental Saint Elixir pills in the Chinquan gourd. In terms of value, it was worth 50,000 5 elemental Great Elixir pills. Good elixir. These 5 elemental Saint Elixir pills are much purer than the 5 elemental Great Elixir pills. Although they only contain 10 times the spiritual energy of the 5 elemental Great Elixir pills, they can easily remove the impurities and save a lot of trouble. Chu Fengmian took a look at the 5 elemental Saint Elixir pills and praised. Every medicine was poisonous to some extent. All spirit pills, even saint pills, would have some impurities. Once a large amount of impurities were swallowed and refined, the impurities would be gone. First, these impurities would accumulate in the demon god martial artist body. If a large amount of impurities accumulated, it would affect the demon god martial artist body. Second, resistance. If a large amount of 5 elemental Great Elixir pills were consumed at once, the effect of each pill would gradually weaken until it was completely ineffective. Therefore, some powerful and wealthy geniuses would choose 5 elemental Saint Elixir pills, or even 5 elemental Emperor Elixir pills. Of course, there are only a few geniuses who could consume a large amount of 5 elemental Saint Elixir pills. In the Holy Dragon Secret Dimension, only core disciples were qualified. For example, some of the best among the true disciples might be able to do it. For example, Blood Prince. His father was Emperor Gu. In his empty ring, there were a large amount of 5 elemental great elixir pills. Obviously, even Bloody Prince would use the 5 elemental great elixir for his daily cultivation. As for the 500 5 elemental saint elixir, he would only use it when he wanted to break through to the next level or when he wanted to condense the laws of heaven and earth. I can save these 5 elemental sacred pills first. When I have a breakthrough, I will consume them again. Chu Fengyan confirmed it before putting the Qiankuan gourds into his empty ring. This was definitely a windfall. Although Chu Fengyan could continuously condense spirit stones, a large amount of spirit stones might not necessarily be enough to exchange for pills of this level. In the Sacred Dragon Mystery Dimension and the Avalon of 5 elements, elixirs were the real currency. This was because the warriors and demon immortals, they were constantly thinking about how to improve their abilities. As for spirit stones, they were also valuable, but there might not be people willing to exchange large amounts of pills for them. Chu Fengyan put all the wealth in the Blood Prince's empty ring into his own empty ring. Suddenly, a jade talisman, which was originally quietly hanging on Chu Fengyan's chest, suddenly emitted a strange light. This jade talisman was the Sacred Dragon Mystery Dimension's jade talisman. The jade talisman was shining, which meant that the Sacred Dragon Mystery Dimension's assessment had ended. It's only been 5 days, and it ended early? Chu Fengyan calculated. He should have been in the Nether Ghost region for a total of 5 days. According to the rules of the assessment, there should be 2 days left. He did not expect it to end early. Let's go back first. Chu Fengyan crushed the jade talisman. Suddenly, his body flickered. His body was directly brought to the sky by the power of the jade talisman. In the sky, the ancient bronze door had appeared again and was slowly opening. At a glance, it was enough to see many lights flying over with the Sacred Dragon Mystery Dimension's disciples. However, the number was less than what Chu Fengyan had imagined. There were probably less than 1,000 people. There should have been more than 10,000 disciples who came to the Nether Ghost region to participate in the Sacred Dragon Mystery Dimension's assessment. But now, there were less than 1,000 people left. Moreover, it was not only the Sacred Dragon Mystery Dimension. Chu Fengyan observed that the Avalon of 5 elements, Qi Lin Shan, and other forces had also ended their assessment early. Moreover, they had lost a lot of disciples. A large number of disciples had died in the Nether Ghost region. Looks like the young emperor was enraged and massacred the disciples of the 4 major forces. That's why the 4 major forces ended the test early. Otherwise, in 2 more days, I'm afraid no one would be alive in the Nether Ghost realm. The young emperor was plotted against by Chu Fengyan this time. His anger was enough to burn the heavens and the earth. The disciples of the 4 major forces became his first target. Under the wanton massacre, the 4 major forces had no choice but to end their assessment early. Even the 4 major forces did not want to provoke the angry young emperor. This time, Emerald Sky Emperor Gu, Gold Peak Emperor Gu, and others had gone against the young emperor because of the bronze heavenly demon skeleton. There was no benefit in fighting the young emperor now. The 4 major forces would not choose to do so. Master, Chu Fengyan had just returned to the edge of the bronze door when he heard a female voice. Chu Fengyan turned his head and saw Luya. It seemed that she had also survived safely. Luya had not been involved in the Temple of Bones. She had only been hunting demons. Now that she had felt the call of the Jade Talisman, she had also returned. The Jade Talisman's call was the last chance to leave the Nether Ghost region. Otherwise, unless one had stepped into the realm of Emperor Gu and could cross the starry sky physically, one could only stay in the Nether Ghost region. Regardless of whether one was a warrior or a demon immortal, staying in the Nether Ghost region was akin to committing suicide. No one was willing to do so. Master is very brave. It is said that even the Blood Prince died in your hands. I didn't expect you to hide your strength so well. Luya walked over and smiled at Chu Fengyan. There was even a flash of surprise in her eyes. Many disciples of the 4 major forces had witnessed Chu Fengyan killing the Blood Prince in public. This matter had already spread throughout the Nether Ghost region. Many disciples of the Sacred Dragon's secret domain looked at Chu Fengyan with awe, respect, and of course, jealousy. However, no one dared to cause trouble for Chu Fengmian. After all, Chu Fengmian had killed the Blood Prince. Chapter 1293. Seeing this reaction, Luya was astonished. When Chu Fengmian was in the ancient Fey continent, he looked down on everyone and defeated almost all the geniuses. She did not expect that in the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm, Chu Fengmian had established a supreme prestige in just a few days. No one dared to provoke Chu Fengmian anymore. Even the title of Newcomer King, Young Master Mu, was about to land on Chu Fengmian's head. However, Chu Fengmian did not care about Newcomer King. If he wanted to dominate, he wanted to dominate the entire Holy Dragon Mystery Realm. It was a mere batch of newcomers to him. Luya looked at Chu Fengmian and carefully sized him up. She realized that she could not see through Chu Fengmian anymore. The strength that Chu Fengmian had displayed before her was already extremely terrifying. However, Chu Fengmian had killed young Master Shui. This proved that Chu Fengmian's strength was even more terrifying than what he had displayed. I just have some trump cards. Chu Fengmian casually replied after hearing Luya's words. Seeing that Chu Fengmian was unwilling to answer, Luya did not pursue the matter. She only smiled and stood quietly beside Chu Fengmian. Seeing this scene, the eyes of many disciples of the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm were filled with jealousy. Although they did not know Luya's identity, according to the rumors, Luya was related to the ancient emperor of the Wind Empress. The Fengho ancient emperor had only become an ancient emperor 100 years ago. However, with her current strength, she was already a supreme elder of the Holy Dragon Mystery Domain. Peerless talent was enough to describe Emperor Gu. It was even rumored that Emperor Gu was one of the most promising experts in the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm to step into the Heavenly Realm. Even many ancient emperors wanted to get close to the ancient emperor of Wind Empress. Looking at Chu Fengmian and Luya, it was clear that they were on good terms. In that case, Chu Fengmian might even be able to cozy up to the ancient emperor of Wind Empress. At that time, who would dare to provoke Chu Fengmian in the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm? Humph! A group of cultivators stood to the side. The one in their hearts was young Master Mu. Back in the Temple of Bones, young Master Mu was the fastest to escape. Even when Chu Fengmian wanted to kill young Master Mu, he couldn't find him. Now that young Master Mu saw the relationship between Chu Fengmian and Luya, his eyes were filled with jealousy, especially when he looked at Chu Fengmian. He wanted to kill Chu Fengmian. If it wasn't for Chu Fengmian, young Master Mu would definitely be this year's newcomer king. It could be said that when young Master Mu came to the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm, he was highly anticipated. Even many elders had to give him some face, giving him limitless glory. However, ever since he had met Chu Fengmian, he had completely lost everything. Now that Chu Fengmian had killed the Bloody Prince and made a name for himself, many disciples of the Emperor Mu Association were worried that Chu Fengmian would seek revenge and left one by one. Young Master Mu, there's no need to worry. This kid is merely a vile character who has gained power. Do you think he'll be able to contend against the Mu family in the Sacred Dragon Mystery Dimension? A few martialists standing beside young Master Mu whispered. Moreover, this woman hasn't given herself to this kid yet. When we reach the Sacred Dragon Mystery Dimension and young Master Mu shows off, this woman will definitely come to her senses. Hearing this, young Master Mu's expression became slightly better. Suddenly, his eyes flickered as he looked at Chu Fengmian. That's right. It's time to take down this kid's spirit. So what if Chu Fengmian's performance was shocking? Once they reached the Sacred Dragon Mystery Dimension, he would have the Mu family as his backing. Would he be afraid of Chu Fengmian? Rumble. While the crowd was discussing, a figure appeared from the bronze door. Following that, an enormous amount of heaven and earth power descended together with this figure. Chu Fengmian sensed the aura and naturally knew that the person who had arrived was another Emperor Gu. This time, it was an old man who looked a little sleepy. It was as if this old man didn't care about anything. Even if Mount Tai collapsed before him, his expression wouldn't change. It's Song Zhu Emperor Gu. This is one of the old Emperor Gu of the Sacred Dragon Mystery Dimension. Many of the Sacred Dragon Secret Plains disciples had already recognized the old man. Many of the Emperor Gu in the Sacred Dragon Mystery Dimension were famous super geniuses in their respective continents when they were young. For example, this song Zhu Emperor Gu was in existence that intimidated countless continents when he was young. Later on, Song Zhu Emperor Gu joined the Sacred Dragon Mystery Dimension and kept a low profile. However, his legends were still circulating in various continents. Being in such close proximity to Emperor Gu was enough to make many disciples gasp for breath, even though Song Zhu Emperor Gu didn't show much of his aura. However, Chu Fengmian didn't feel anything. He had already endured the wrath of a young emperor. This little bit of aura was nothing to him. Moreover, the young emperor was much stronger than this Song Zhu Emperor Gu. Oh! Song Zhu Emperor Gu appeared and glanced at Chu Fengmian with a hint of surprise in his eyes. Only a four-tribulation true emperor would be able to remain unaffected by his aura. Chu Fengmian was only at the immortal realm and was able to do so. This was enough to prove his strength. Not bad, a good seedling. Song Zhu Emperor Gu looked at Chu Fengmian and praised softly. Young Master Mu's expression became even more ferocious after hearing the praise. If Chu Fengmian wasn't here, he would be the most dazzling person in this generation of newcomers. It could be said that young Master Mu was the most dazzling person unless he was placed in a particularly dazzling group. But now, Chu Fengmian's brilliance had completely shrouded him. He couldn't raise his head at all. Thank you, Emperor Gu. Chu Fengmian looked at Song Zhu Emperor Gu and cupped his fists. Okay, Song Zhu Emperor Gu said and shifted his gaze away from Chu Fengmian. He only appreciated Chu Fengmian's talent and didn't want to take him as a disciple. Just a praise was enough. This time, the examination will end early. However, the rules remain the same. All disciples of the Sacred Dragon's secret domain must pass through the bronze door and return to the secret domain. Everyone will pass the examination. The ranking will be determined according to the number of devil bones obtained. Song Zhu Emperor Gu glanced at the crowd and slowly said, "The more devil bones you obtain, the more likely you will be favored by the 8 halls and even the 4 sections. The 4 sects will send people to participate in this examination, so do well." After the ancient pine bamboo emperor finished speaking, he turned around and sent a surge of spiritual energy into the copper door. Open. Chapter 1294. I'm finally back. Chu Fengmian stepped through the bronze door and felt the world spinning around him. His figure returned to the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm. Feeling the rich spiritual energy around him, Chu Fengmian felt much more relaxed. In the Nether Ghost region, a place filled with demonic aura, Chu Fengmian had to be tense at all times. After returning to the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm, he could finally relax a little and his fatigue was relieved. Moreover, in the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm, Chu Fengmian did not need to worry about the young emperor. No matter how strong the young emperor was, he would not rush into the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm to kill Chu Fengmian. After all, there were many strong people in the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm. Even if the young emperor came personally, he might not be able to escape unscathed. Master, I have to leave first. I'm now a disciple of the Five Spirits sect. If you need any help, you can come to the Five Spirits sect to find me. Luya said to Chu Fengmian after returning to the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm. Okay. Hearing Luya's words, Chu Fengmian was not surprised. Luya was taken away by Emperor Gu personally. Naturally, she had already joined the Five Spirits sect. She should be here to train herself by participating in the trial. The Five Spirits sect was ranked 3rd among the 4 sections. The 4 sects were the Holy Dragon sect, the Holy Academy sect, the Five Spirits sect, and the 6 Ultimate sect. The ranking of the 4 sects had been fixed since ancient times. Although the Holy Academy sect was the top sect in the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm, the Holy Dragon sect was still the most respected sect in terms of status. Five Spirits sect. Many disciples in the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm were envious when they heard Lu Ya's words. Many seniors did not have the opportunity to join the 4 sects, let alone Lu Ya, who was a newcomer. Once she joined the Five Spirits sect, she would definitely be nurtured with resources. At that time, Lu Ya would definitely pull far ahead of them and widen the gap. Lucky kid. Many disciples in the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm looked
at Chu Fengmian and said, it was extremely rare for a newcomer to join the force sex in each batch of newcomers. Although Chu Fengmian had already displayed incomparably monstrous strength, it was still not certain that he would be able to join the force sections. It was said that Luya had a very close relationship with Emperor Gu. In the future, it was even possible for Luya to become a high-ranking member of the Five Spirits sect. If he could build a good relationship with her now, it would definitely be a good thing. Go! He looked at Luya and said casually, take care, young master. Luya took a deep look at Chu Fengmian and slowly left. She turned into a ray of light and returned to the Five Spirits sect. By this time, almost all of the Sacred Dragon's secret domain disciples had returned from the Nether Ghost region. The ancient bronze door slowly closed. Emperor Gu of Songzhu was the last to walk out of the ancient bronze door. He looked at the warriors present and said, this time, all the warriors and demon gods who survived the Nether Ghost region have passed the assessment and become disciples of the Sacred Dragon's secret domain. Now, all of you have become official disciples of the Sacred Dragon's secret domain. However, before we distribute the rewards, we still need to evaluate you. Everyone, step forward and hand over the demon bones. All the demon bones will be exchanged for contribution points of the Sacred Dragon's secret domain. We will not take advantage of you. First, Emperor Gu of Songzhu pointed to a young warrior who was standing in the front row. The young warrior's strength was considered to be above average among the remaining disciples. He took a step forward and took out an empty ring. When he opened it, there were about 200 demon bones. Emperor Gu of Songzhu took a glance and waved his hand, taking away all the demon bones. A total of 350 points, which will be exchanged for 35 contribution points. With that, Emperor Gu of Songzhu took out a jade talisman and handed it to the young warrior. On the jade talisman, one could faintly see the number 35. All the demon bones could be exchanged for different points according to their grade. For example, the demon bones of an ordinary quasi-emperor were equivalent to 1 point. As for peak quasi-emperors, or even some of the more powerful demons, one demonic bone was equivalent to 2 or 3 points. The Sacred Dragon's secret domain had existed for hundreds of thousands of years. It was familiar with the assessment of points and was incomparably fair. There was no dissatisfaction on the young man's face. Instead, there was a hint of joy. Generally, the price given for purchasing demon bones in the assessment would be 20 to 30% higher than the normal price. This was to prevent the warriors and demon gods from secretly keeping demon bones and causing the assessment to be unfair. In addition to the jade talisman, Emperor Gu of Songzhu also took out a jade bottle and handed it over. In the jade bottle, there was a green dragon eye elixir. Jade Dragon Saint Elixir. Before the assessment, the rewards were announced. All the disciples who passed the assessment were qualified to receive a Jade Dragon Saint Elixir. The young man took both the jade talisman and jade bottle and hurriedly left. At the same time, his name appeared on a water mirror at the side. It recorded his name and the points he obtained. Next, one by one, the martial artists and demon immortals who were called upon naturally stepped forward and handed over their demon bones. Everyone's ranking was displayed on the water mirror. This ranking was related to the disciple recruitment ceremony of the 4 sects and 8 halls. After the assessment results were out, it would be the time for the disciple recruitment ceremony of the 4 sects and 8 halls. At that time, people from the 4 sects and 8 halls would come to select the disciples according to the order of the 4 sects and 8 halls. Next, Emperor Gu of Songzhu still looked extremely tired. He looked a little drowsy and could fall asleep at any time. However, his speed was extremely fast. When a cultivator took out a devil bone, he was able to calculate its value in an instant. Another disciple was called out and stepped forward. This person was a demon immortal, and he seemed to have the aura of a bull around him. It's Nyoshi. When some of the Sacred Dragon's secret dimension disciples saw this person step forward, their eyes were filled with anticipation. I wonder how many demon bones Nyoshi has obtained. Originally, Nyoshi was not considered outstanding among this batch of newcomers. However, in the Nether Ghost domain, This person's performance was outstanding, and he became one of the top newcomers in this batch. If there were a few people in this batch of newcomers who had a chance to join the four sects, he was one of them. Miyoshi took a step forward and opened the empty ring. Crash! Countless demon bones fell out of the empty ring and piled up into a small hill. At a glance, there were more than 10,000 demon bones. Chapter 1295. That's a lot. Cries of surprise could be heard from the crowd. The demonic bones were piled up into a small hill. There were at least 10,000 of them. Ordinary martial artists and fey gods would be ranked high if they could obtain hundreds of demonic bones. There were 10,000 of them. Even Emperor Gu of Song, Zhu raised his eyes slightly and said softly, "Yes." Although it was not a compliment, it was enough to be an acknowledgement from Emperor Gu of Song Zhu. Oxy's face lit up when he heard the evaluation. The count took about a minute. Then, Emperor Gu of Song Zhu waved his hand and collected all the demonic bones. 12,000 points. That's a total of 1,200 contribution points. 1,200 contribution points. If they were exchanged for Jade Dragon pills, that would be 1,200 pills. It was definitely a huge fortune. Especially for a newcomer, this was already a very good ranking. Oxy should be in the top 3 this time. Many warriors were talking about it. At the same time, they looked at the two figures standing at the side like fire and water. Chu Fengmian and young Master Mu. This time, the top 2 spots should be locked onto the 2 of them. It was just that they didn't know which of the 2 of them had more people. There should have been no doubt that young Master Mu would take first place. After all, young Master Mu's strength was the top of this batch of newcomers. He also had a strong background. He had established the Emperor Mu Association long ago and had countless martial artists and fey gods work for him. However, Chu Fengmian had killed Prince Shui and was famous for his strength. He did have a chance to compete with young Master Mu. However, most people in the crowd still thought that young Master Mu had a better chance of taking first place this time. In terms of strength, Chu Fengmian did have the advantage. There was no doubt about that. However, 2 fists were no match for 4 hands. Chu Fengmian was alone, while young Master Mu had the entire Emperor Mu Association and the influence of the Mu family behind him. Even now, many martial artists and fey gods had joined the Emperor Mu Association to work for young Master Mu. Hearing the discussion, young Master Mu's face turned even uglier. He looked at Chu Fengmian and suddenly walked over. Seeing this scene, everyone present hurriedly stopped their discussions. A mountain could not accommodate 2 tigers. In every batch of newcomers, there must be a newcomer king. Chu Fengmian and young Master Mu would fight sooner or later. Everyone had a fight for first place. Young Master Mu stared at Chu Fengmian and said coldly, "Chu Fengmian, do you dare to bet with me?" "Bet? What bet? Why? Do you want to fight me? I'll be waiting." When Chu Fengmian heard young Master Mu's words, he didn't even lift his eyelids. Young Master Mu was taken aback by Chu Fengmian's words. He originally wanted to provoke Chu Fengmian, but he didn't expect that Chu Fengmian would ask to meet him in the life and death arena. Young Master Mu was not as strong as young Master Shui. Although he did not see how Chu Fengmian killed young Master Shui with his own eyes, he had already escaped. However, since Chu Fengmian had the strength to kill young Master Shui, he was still not someone he could fight against. However, young Master Mu was not an impulsive person. He knew that Chu Fengmian was mocking him. A bet doesn't have to be a battle of life and death. Let's bet on who will be first place this time. Young Master Mu's eyes flickered as he suddenly spoke. Let's bet 10,000 contribution points. I have 10,000 Jade Dragon pills here. Young Master Mu's palm moved, and a Chinkoan gourd appeared in his hand. There were 10,000 Jade Dragon pills in it. 10,000 Jade Dragon pills were 10,000 contribution points. Neo, she only got 1,200 contribution points after painstakingly killing the 10,000 demons. For a newcomer, this was an astronomical amount of wealth. This is the strength of the Mu family. The disciples of the Mu family are indeed rich. Many people looked at young Master Mu with a slight change of expression. Indeed, young Master Mu looked like he was being suppressed by Chu Fengmian. However, young Master Mu came from a Mu clan, a colossal existence. In the Holy Dragon mystic realm, The Mu clan possessed enormous influence. The current young Master Mu was only a newcomer, yet he was able to easily take out 10,000 Jade Dragon Great Pellets. This was sufficient to prove that his background was powerful. When young Master Mu made his move, everyone's gaze fell on Chu Fengyan. 10,000 contribution points was enough to be called a huge bet. Moreover, the bet was to be first place in this assessment. Since young Master Mu dared to make the bet, he naturally had absolute confidence. However, they did not know if Chu Fengyan would dare to accept it. Chu Fengyan did not have young Master Mu's family fortune. If he lost, he would probably go bankrupt. I'm not betting. Chu Fengyan glanced at young Master Mu and said casually. Many people were stunned by Chu Fengyan's straightforward rejection. They did not expect Chu Fengyan to be so straightforward. However, they did not find it surprising when they looked at Chu Fengyan. Indeed, if it was a bet, Chu Fengyan would definitely accept it. However, if it was a bet for first place, everyone was optimistic about young Master Mu. If young Master Mu took the initiative to make the move, he would definitely have the confidence to win. Now that Chu Fengyan had taken a step back, it was normal for him to not make the bet. Oh, why? You don't dare to make the bet? Young Master Mu sneered when he saw Chu Fengyan take a step back. His eyes flashed with amusement. Indeed, he could not defeat Chu Fengyan, but he could still take down Chu Fengyan's prestige. Now that Chu Fengyan had taken the initiative to take a step back, of course he would follow up with another attack. It's fine if you can't take out 10,000 contribution points. When the time comes, if you lose, kneel down and kowtow to me 3 times. I don't want her 10,000 contribution points. How about that? Young Master Mu's words were mocking Chu Fengyan. Apart from young Master Mu and a few others, no one in this batch of newcomers could take out 10,000 contribution points. Chu Fengyan was born in the ancient Fei continent, which was only a 7th grade continent. Of course, he would not have much wealth. Or are you saying that you know that you will lose? Is that why you don't dare to make the bet? Young Master Mu turned his gaze and looked at Chu Fengyan. He had been suppressed by Chu Fengyan for too long. This time, he was finally going to make a comeback. Chu Fengyan's refusal to accept the bet was akin to him losing the limelight. If Chu Fengyan accepted the bet this time, young Master Mu would have a chance of winning. When the time came, he would make Chu Fengyan go bankrupt and even lose face. Chapter 1296. Hearing young Master Mu's words, everyone could see that young Master Mu had set up a conspiracy from the very beginning. No, it was an open conspiracy. Chu Fengyan could neither advance nor retreat. No matter what he did, he would be at a disadvantage. If Chu Fengyan retreated, it would be fine as it would only reduce his momentum. However, if Chu Fengyan really bet with young Master Mu, he would fall into young Master Mu's trap. 10,000 contribution points was enough to bankrupt Chu Fengyan. Young Master Mu was able to set up such an open conspiracy because he was certain of victory. Therefore, no matter what Chu Fengyan chose, he had no hope of winning. Young Master Mu is still young Master Mu. Some martial artists looked at young Master Mu with adoration in their eyes. After all, he was a member of the Mu family. He killed people with his heart. A warrior needed an indomitable heart. If Chu Fengyan was forced to retreat today, it might even affect Chu Fengyan's Dao heart in the future. At that time, it would affect Chu Fengyan's future cultivation. You don't dare to bet? It's just that the stakes are too small. If you want to bet, go big. Chu Fengyan suddenly said after hearing young Master Mu's words. As soon as his voice fell, many martial artists looked at Chu Fengyan with pity in their eyes. Oh no! A few of Chu Fengyan's supporters couldn't help but shake their heads and curse secretly. After all, Chu Fengyan was a newcomer and a junior. He was too young and not mature enough. If he bet with young Master Mu at this time, he would be courting death. Now, Chu Fengyan was provoked by young Master Mu and couldn't help but accept the bet. As for the stakes of Chu Fengyan's words were too small, in the eyes of everyone, it was just a bold statement made by Chu Fengyan to save face. The stakes are too small? Young Master Mu was overjoyed when he heard Chu Fengyan's words. His original goal was to suppress Chu Fengyan's momentum and affect Chu Fengyan's Dao heart. That was his real goal. However, Chu Fengyan actually said such words. He was simply giving him an opportunity and forcing Chu Fengyan into a dead end. Of course, young Master Mu wouldn't let go of this opportunity. Chu Fengyan had already said something like that. If he backed off now, it would be too embarrassing. That's some big talk. Since you're not interested in a mere 10,000 contribution points, how much do you want to bet? I'll bet as much as you want. How about that? Young Master Mu seized the opportunity and laughed. His words forced Chu Fengyan into a dead end. Now, even if Chu Fengyan didn't want to gamble, there was no other reason. Since they had already shed all pretenses of cordiality, it would be best to deal as much of a blow to Chu Fengyan as possible. It would be best if Chu Fengyan's reputation was completely ruined in the Holy Dragon's secret realm, so much so that he would no longer be able to survive. Since you want to bet, let's bet big. 10,000 contribution points isn't even enough to fill the gaps between my teeth. Forget it. Since you don't have much wealth, let's make it 10 times the amount and bet 100,000 contribution points. Chu Fengyan looked at young Master Mu and suddenly said. The moment he opened his mouth, he offered 10 times the amount, a total of 100,000 contribution points. 100,000. Hearing this number, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. 100,000 contribution points was equivalent to 100,000 Jade Dragon Great Elixirs, or 1,000 Jade Dragon Saint Elixirs. Not to mention an ordinary disciple. Even an inner disciple couldn't take out such wealth. Even among the true disciples, there weren't many who could take out 100,000 contribution points in one go. 100,000 contribution points. Even young Master Mu's expression changed drastically. He didn't expect Chu Fengyan to offer 100,000 contribution points. However, young Master Mu glanced at Chu Fengyan and revealed a cold smile. He was just a fox assuming the majesty of a tiger. Was he trying to scare him away? Even young Master Mu would go bankrupt if he took out 100,000 contribution points. He didn't believe that Chu Fengyan would take out 100,000 contribution points. How could a martial artist from a 7th grade continent have so much wealth? 100,000 contribution points. I'll gamble. Young Master Mu sneered and looked at Chu Fengyan. But if you want to gamble, you have to take out 100,000 contribution points first. Otherwise, it won't be that easy to gain something without risking anything. If you can take out 100,000 contribution points, I'll gamble with you. If you can't take it out, then apologize to me obediently. Don't pretend to be a tiger. As soon as young Master Mu's voice fell, everyone present looked at each other. Take out 100,000 contribution points? This number was a heavenly number for them. No, 10,000 contribution points was a heavenly number for them. Not to mention, it was easier said than done to get Chu Fengyan to take out 10 times the amount. He's too reckless. He thinks he's smart. Many people in the crowd looked at Chu Fengyan and shook their heads. They might believe that Chu Fengyan could take out 10,000 contribution points, but they didn't believe that he could take out 100,000 contribution points. In their opinion, Chu Fengyan proposed 100,000 contribution points bet to fool young Master Mu. He wanted to force young Master Mu to retreat, but now he had forced himself into a dead end. Now that Chu Fengyan couldn't take it out, there was no need to bet. Chu Fengyan's reputation would be ruined. It's only 100,000 contribution points. How can I not take it out? Chu Fengyan heard young Master Mu's words and laughed. Suddenly, 10 Qinquan gourds appeared in front of him. Seeing this scene, everyone looked at each other. Could Chu Fengyan really take it out? Was he not bluffing? Even young Master Mu's expression began to change. This seemed to be different from what he had imagined. Bang! The 10 Qinquan gourds opened at the same time, and a strong medicinal fragrance wafted out. Inside the 10 Qinquan gourds were a total of 100,000 5-elemental pills. These? What kind of pills are these? They don't seem to be the 5-elemental pills of our Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension. A warrior noticed that the pills inside the Qinquan gourds were different from the Jade Dragon pill that young Master Mu had just shown. These are 5-elemental pills, the pills of the Avalon of 5 elements. In terms of value, they're on par with the Divine Dragon pill. Some of the more experienced and knowledgeable martial artists spoke slowly. How can this person have so many pills of the Avalon of 5 elements? Avalon of 5 elements. Suddenly, everyone thought of the same thing. Young Master Shui. Only young Master Shui could have such amazing wealth. Chu Fengmian had killed young Master Shui, so he must have taken all of young Master Shui's wealth. No wonder this person is so arrogant. He really does have amazing wealth. Chapter 1297. 10 Qianquan gourds were placed in front of Chu Fengmian. Chu Fengmian looked at young Master Mu with a smile on his face. 100,000 5-elemental pills should be worth 100,000 contribution points. Chu Fengmian could tell what young Master Mu was thinking. However, he had to make a big bet today. Chu Fengmian didn't care about 10,000 contribution points. Only 100,000 contribution points would be useful to him. It's your turn. If you can't take out 100,000 contribution points, get lost. I don't bet with a pauper. Chu Fengmian sneered as he looked at young Master Mu with a faint smile. Pauper. The crowd felt their vision go dark when they heard this. If Chu Fengmian called young Master Mu a pauper, what would they be? They might not even be able to take out 1,000 contribution points, let alone 10,000. However, Chu Fengmian had taken out 100,000 5-elemental pills in broad daylight. He was indeed qualified to do so. At this moment, young Master Mu's face was alternating between green and white. He didn't expect Chu Fengmian to take out 100,000 contribution points. At this moment, he was the one who was embarrassed. If he took out 100,000 contribution points, he would probably go bankrupt. He definitely didn't have that many pills. If young Master Mu couldn't take out 100,000 contribution points, he would become a laughingstock. He would be the one who would lose face. After all, he was the one who initiated the bet. Moreover, he agreed to Chu Fengmian's offer of 100,000 contribution points. Young Master Mu's face turned gloomy when he saw that many people in the crowd were waiting to see him make a fool of himself. 100,000 it is. I could take it out. As young Master Mu spoke, he took out another 4 Qianquan gourds. Inside each Qianquan gourd were 10,000 Jade Dragon pills. There were 50,000 Jade Dragon pills in total, which were worth 50,000 contribution points. This wealth was extremely shocking, but the crowd wasn't shocked. After all, they had just seen Chu Fengmian take out 100,000 5-elemental pills. Young Master Mu's 50,000 Jade Dragon pills weren't too surprising. It's not enough. Chu Fengmian glanced at young Master Mu and said indifferently, "If you can't take it out, then forget it. Don't force yourself. I won't hold it against you, and I don't need your apology." Although Chu Fengmian's words weren't unpleasant, in reality, every word was a slap to young Master Mu's face. This Chu Fengmian is indeed not the type to compromise. Since young Master Mu wants to slap him in the face, he will slap him even harder. Some warriors also saw that Chu Fengmian had pretended to be weak in order to make young Master Mu raise the stakes. Now, young Master Mu was the one who was put on the spot. He was a vengeful person. Such a person was the most terrifying existence, especially with all the background. Chu Fengmian was not afraid. The Blood Noble had the support of the Blood God Emperor Gu. Now, Chu Fengmian could kill him just like that. As for the Mu family behind young Master Mu, Chu Fengmian was of course not afraid. What a ruthless character. Emperor Gu of Songzhou raised his head and looked at Chu Fengmian with interest. There's a character in this batch of newcomers. Countless gazes were fixed on young Master Mu. At this time, young Master Mu had been forced into a dead end. If young Master Mu still couldn't come up with enough wealth, he would become a laughingstock. I don't have enough elixirs for the remaining 50,000 contribution points. I can use my spiritual weapons as collateral. Young Master Mu looked at Chu Fengmian and suddenly opened his spatial ring. A pair of sabers and swords appeared. This pair of sabers and swords were both sky-grade spiritual weapons. One saber and one sword formed a set. They were the spiritual weapons that young Master Mu intended to use against his enemies. It's not enough. This pair of sabers and swords is definitely not enough. Seeing that young Master Mu had taken out his spiritual weapons, the crowd could see that young Master Mu was really desperate. Otherwise, he wouldn't have taken out the spiritual weapons that he intended to use against his enemies. However, this was still not enough. The 50,000 contribution points were not enough to pay for the saber and sword. These two ordinary spiritual weapons are worth at most 15,000 contribution points. Chu Fengyan glanced at the pair of sabers and swords and said casually, with his experience, he could naturally see the value of these weapons at a glance. Out on my throne, young Master Mu snorted coldly and took out another throne. It was the same throne that he usually sat on. It represented young Master Mu's supreme authority. It's so ordinary and ugly. It's only worth 5,000 contribution points. It'll be 20,000 contribution points in total. You still need 30,000 contribution points. Chu Fengyan glanced at it again and curled his lips. It's fine if you can't take it out. Otherwise, you'll lose all your trump cards later. Who says I can't take it out? The current young Master Mu was like a completely enraged lion. He had been suppressed in every way since he met Chu Fengyan. This time, he finally got an opportunity to extinguish Chu Fengyan's arrogance. He wanted to put Chu Fengyan on the spot, but he didn't expect that Chu Fengyan would turn the tables and become the host. The one who was put on the spot was him. If he couldn't take it out this time, he would become a joke that would spread throughout the entire Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension tomorrow. I'll add on this. A hint of hesitation flashed across young Master Mu's eyes. However, when he saw the crowd's gaze, a hint of ruthlessness flashed across his eyes. He took out a bronze token from his spatial ring. This bronze token didn't look like a spiritual weapon, but contained an extremely unique spiritual energy. It faintly contained the origin energy of heaven and earth. What is this thing? It doesn't look like a spiritual weapon. How can it contain the origin energy of heaven and earth? The crowd looked at the bronze token in confusion. Primogenitor statue comprehension token? The faces of some cultivators who were more knowledgeable suddenly changed. Young Master Mu actually has such a thing? Primogenitor statue comprehension token. Chu Fengyan suddenly understood what this bronze token was. Inside the sacred dragon mystical ground, there were countless ancient ruins left behind by experts. It was enough for one to comprehend various martial skills and secret techniques. Of course, among all the ancient ruins, the most valuable one was the 1,000-mile stone dragon statue, the statue of Primogenitor Tianlong. This Primogenitor statue comprehension token could be used to exchange for a chance to comprehend the 1,000-mile stone dragon statue. In order to comprehend the 1,000-mile stone dragon statue, one not only needed contribution points, but also needed to perform a great service for the sacred dragon mystery domain in order to be qualified to exchange for it. This Primogenitor statue comprehension token was worth at least 50,000 contribution points. Chu Fengyan was overjoyed when he saw the Primogenitor statue comprehension token. He needed the chance to comprehend the 1,000-mile stone dragon statue. When Chu Fengyan first stepped into the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension, he could feel the attraction of the 1,000-mile stone dragon statue from afar. Therefore, Chu Fengyan had been looking for an opportunity. He didn't expect young Master Mu to deliver the Primogenitor statue comprehension token to him. Not bad, it's good stuff. I'll give you 50,000 for this. As for those lousy spiritual weapons, you should keep them for yourself. Chapter 1298. Although Chu Fengyan was overjoyed, his expression remained calm as he spoke. Hearing this, young Master Mu almost vomited blood. These were the spiritual weapons that he had used to fight his enemies, but Chu Fengyan had called them lousy spiritual weapons. Kid, you don't have to be so smug. Young Master Mu looked at Chu Fengyan with a sneer. Although he did not expect Chu Fengyan to turn the situation around, he was not afraid even if he had a bet. He was confident that he would win. Otherwise, he would not have taken the initiative to bet with Chu Fengyan. This bet needs a witness. Song Zhu Emperor Gu, may I trouble you? Chu Fengyan suddenly said to Song Zhu Emperor Gu. This time, young Master Mu had put all his trump cards on the bet. Chu Fengyan was worried that young Master Mu would go back on his word. Sure. Song Zhu Emperor Gu only nodded calmly when he heard Chu Fengyan's words. Although he had seen everything, he had no intention of stopping it. The Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension did not forbid disciples from fighting. It should be said that a force like the Sacred Dragon Secret Realm would encourage competition between their disciples. in order to become an expert of a generation who would not have to go through countless battles. In the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension, strength was everything. Only the stronger cultivators were qualified to obtain more resources. Such fights were commonplace. As long as no lives were lost, no one would care. Chu Fengmian was relieved when he saw that Songzhu Emperor Gu had agreed. Even if young Master Mu was arrogant, he would not dare to go back on his word in front of Emperor Gu. Say it. Do you want to go first, or should I? Chu Fengmian looked at young Master Mu and said casually. His tone was extremely confident, as if victory was already in his grasp. This made young Master Mu frown. Chu Fengmian's behavior was too confident. It made him a little worried about whether this big bet was the right one. However, now that things had come to this, he could not back down. There was no way out. I'll go first. Young Master Mu snorted coldly. He simply took a step forward and walked up to Songzhu Emperor Gu and opened the empty ring. Voila! The moment the empty ring was opened, countless demonic bones gushed out and filled the entire empty ring. Large and small demonic bones piled up like a mountain. Compared to the ox rhino's devil bone, it was tens of times or even hundreds of times more. Just how many demon bones are there? Everyone looked at the mountain of demonic bones and was dumbfounded. Hundreds of thousands? Millions? Although they had already guessed that young Master Mu would have a lot of demon bones, they were still shocked when they saw the mountain-like pile of demon bones in front of them. Humph! When young Master Mu saw the gazes of the crowd and their exclamations, he revealed a smug expression. It was finally time for him to hold his head up high. Emperor Gu of Songzhu, please appraise the points. Young Master Mu looked at Emperor Gu of Songzhu and said. On the other hand, Emperor Gu of Songzhu released his spiritual awareness to carefully analyze the bones. It took him a full 5 minutes to calculate the total value of the bones. 1,370,000 points, which is equivalent to 103,700 contribution points. Emperor Gu of Songzhu said calmly. After all, with his status, he had seen countless tests, so he was not surprised at all. However, when they heard the number 1,370,000, they were stunned. More than 1 million contribution points. The highest score of the previous person, Ox Rhino, was only 12,000 contribution points. This was 100 times more than Ox Rhino's. Young Master Mu actually has so many demon bones. No wonder young Master Mu is so confident. 1,370,000 points. No matter how strong Chu Fengmian is, it's impossible for him to obtain so many demon bones. It's over. Looks like Chu Fengmian is too proud. He's going to fail miserably. If there had been any suspense before, then young Master Mu's won. 37 million points seemed to have put an end to all the suspense. Kid, it's your turn. Young Master Mu took the jade talisman and jade bottle that belonged to him. He walked to the side and looked at Chu Fengmian provocatively. Oh, only this much? I was wondering how many demon bones you have. That's why you dared to provoke me. In the end, only this much? Chu Fengmian looked at young Master Mu's provocation and said with a smile. Well, it seems that I shouldn't have had any expectations for you. Don't talk big here. You're about to die, and you're still so stubborn? Young Master Mu said disapprovingly. He certainly didn't believe that Chu Fengmian had more demon bones than him. In his opinion, Chu Fengmian's words were just a stubborn lie. Usually, a newcomer with 500,000 to 600,000 points would be ranked first. As for those with more than 1 million points, it was rare to see one in 10 years. Although there were once incomparably monstrous figures who obtained millions or even tens of millions of points, it was at least 100 years ago. It didn't belong to this era. Moreover, this time the test in the Nether Ghost realm was only 5 days, not 7. It was even more difficult to surpass this number. Impossible. Chu Fengmian shouldn't have more demon bones than young Master Mu. It seems that he's still unwilling to admit defeat. After all, it's 100,000 contribution points. No one wants to lose. Countless discussions sounded, and countless people in the crowd looked at Chu Fengmian. A few disciples of Monarch Mu's association even mocked him. Hurry up, don't waste time. Waste time? I just want to let you be proud for a while. In that case, I'll show you. Chu Fengmian's lips curled up slightly. He took out an empty ring injected a surge of spiritual power, and opened it. Look, what's the meaning of looking at the sky from the bottom of a well? It's only 1,000,000 points, not even a fraction of mine. Boom! The moment the empty ring was opened, countless demonic bones gushed out. The number was no less than young Master Mu's. So many. No, there's more. Furthermore, as time passed, the number of demonic bones continued to increase. At this point, they were even more numerous than the demonic bones that young Master Mu had just taken out. This is impossible. This is impossible. Young Master Mu's expression changed drastically. He stood up abruptly and looked at Chu Fengyan with a pale face. Chu Fengyan had more demon bones than him, and this was far from the end. Under everyone's gaze, more and more demon bones flew out from the empty ring. Chu Fengyan had obtained all of young Master Shui's demon bones, and they piled up to fill an empty ring. 1 building, 2 buildings, 3 buildings. A mountain peak couldn't be piled up. On the square, countless demon bones piled up into mountains. Chapter 1299. There's more. Chu Fengyan was not done with the first, second, and third mountain peaks. More and more demon bones flew out of Chu Fengyan's empty ring. The amount of demon bones in the empty ring seemed to be endless. Every single mountain peak was no smaller than the mountain peak that young Master Mu had taken out earlier. This was not just a little more than young Master Mu, but several times more. Looking at the countless demon bones, many warriors swallowed their saliva. How many demon bones were there? One should know that demon bones could be exchanged for contribution points in the Sacred Dragon Mystery Domain. With so many demon bones, if they were all exchanged for contribution points, it would be an astronomical figure. After waiting for a few minutes, Chu Fengyan slowly raised his head. It's about time. Chu Fengyan muttered to himself, and the empty ring closed. There were a total of 10 mountain peaks piled up with demon bones, and each mountain peak was no smaller than the one that young Master Mu had taken out. Song Zhu Emperor Gu, please. Chu Fengyan looked at Song Zhu Emperor Gu and said. The expression in ancient Emperor Song Zhu's eyes began to change as the devil bone appeared. There was some surprise in his eyes as he looked at Chu Fengyan. He had presided over countless assessments, but this was the first time he had seen such a large number of demon bones. Song Zhu Emperor Gu did not say anything, and he quietly counted the demon bones. There was no one in the crowd, and no one was talking. Everyone's eyes were on Song Zhu Emperor Gu. There were so many demonic bones that they couldn't even calculate how many there were. After a long time, this time, it took a full hour to do the counting. Song Zhu Emperor Gu slowly raised his head. He waved his hand, and Chu Fengyan's name appeared on the water mirror. Without exception, this name was at the top of the list. As for the number behind it, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, 1,000,000, 10,000,000. Everyone was stunned when they saw the number behind Chu Fengyan's name. 13 million. It wasn't until a cultivator shouted out in shock that the silence was broken. 13 million points. This number was 10 times higher than young Master Mu's. No, that's impossible. How could there be so many? How is that possible? Young Master Mu's expression changed drastically as he roared madly. Cheating. You must have cheated. You can't kill so many demons by yourself. Young Master Mu looked at Chu Fengyan and roared madly. After all, he had the Monarch Mu Association behind him. All the disciples of the association were working for him, hunting the demon tribe for him, which was why he was able to accumulate over 1,000,000 points. But this time, Chu Fengyan surpassed him by a whole 10 times. Even in his dreams, he could never have imagined such a possibility. How dare you? Hearing young Master Mu's question, Emperor Gu of Songzhu was displeased and shouted coldly. This time, Emperor Gu of Songzhu was in charge of the assessment. Now that young Master Mu said that Chu Fengyan had cheated, wasn't he doubting him? After being reprimanded by Emperor Gu of Songzhu, young Master Mu quickly came to his senses. He was a little angry just now. He didn't dare to doubt an Emperor Gu. Even the Mu family didn't dare to provoke an Emperor Gu. Young Master Mu hurriedly bowed to Emperor Gu of Songzhu. I was reckless. Please forgive me, Emperor Gu of Songzhu. Get up. Emperor Gu of Songzhu spoke calmly. With his status, he wouldn't argue with a junior. I'll be the witness of this bet. The winner is Chu Fengyan. Mu Bai, hand over your winnings. Young Master Mu's expression turned extremely ugly after hearing this. He had never thought that he would lose the bet with Chu Fengyan. This time, he had already gone bankrupt. He had taken out all of his wealth, including the incomparably precious primogeniture statue comprehension token. This was given to him by the Mu family because they saw that he was extremely talented. Now that they wanted him to hand it over, he was extremely unwilling. However, it was impossible for him to go back on his word in front of Emperor Gu. If he dared to do so, Emperor Gu of Songzhou would be the first to kill him. Young Master Mu's face turned pale. In the end, he obediently handed over the 50,000 jade dragon pills and the ancestral statue enlightenment token. The 5 Qinquan gourds and the ancestral statue enlightenment token were taken away by a surge of spiritual energy the moment they were handed over. They flew to Chu Fengyan. These are all yours, Emperor Gu of Songzhou said to Chu Fengyan. Thank you, Emperor Gu. Chu Fengyan hurriedly put away the 5 Qinquan gourds and the ancestral statue enlightenment token. Chu Fengyan didn't really care about the 50,000 jade dragon pills. However, the ancestral statue enlightenment token was what he needed the most right now. All right, the ranking of the assessment is out. First place is Chu Fengyan. Second place is Mu Bai. Third place is Neo. Emperor Gu of Songzhou read out the names one by one. Being in second place was already something to be proud of for ordinary martial artists and Yao gods. However, young Master Mu felt that it was extremely grating and even a form of humiliation when he heard it. He had lost this time, and it was a crushing defeat. This made young Master Mu hate Chu Fengyan even more intensely. There would be a day when he would kill Chu Fengyan. Everyone knew about this monstrous desire to kill, but Chu Fengyan didn't take it seriously. Young Master Mu was no big deal. He was just a toy that Chu Fengyan had found. Chu Fengyan's true goal was to stand at the peak of all heavens. The entire sacred dragon mystery domain was just a stepping stone for him. As for young Master Mu, he was just an ant that he could casually stomp to death. Everyone, wait in the square. The disciple recruitment ceremony is about to begin. We will decide your allegiance. Emperor Gu of Songzhou said calmly. The disciple recruitment ceremony. This could be said to be the most important thing for all the newcomers. The rankings of the 4 sects and 8 halls were different in the Sacred Dragon's secret domain. Joining a sect or a hall would result in a different future. According to the rules of the Sacred Dragon's secret domain, joining a hall from one hall was extremely rare. However, there were very few people who could achieve this. In fact, it could even be said that there was less than 1 in 100 people. To the majority of the Holy Dragon Mystery Realm's disciples, the moment they joined a hall, it represented their entire lives. After waiting for less than an hour, suddenly, several figures appeared in the sky. The weakest among them was a 6th tribulation true emperor. They stood in the sky and looked down at the crowd. It's the people from the 8 halls. There were more than 10 figures among them. They seemed to belong to the 8 powers and were the elders of the 8 halls. They were currently sizing up the countless martial artists and Yao gods on the square. Chapter 1300. Almost everyone present guessed that Mu Xian was here to pick up young Master Mu. Yes. Hearing Mu Xian's words, young Master Mu respectfully came to his side. Uncle Xian, what a disgrace. As a member of the Mu family, you can't even compete with a little guy. Your talent surpasses mine. Why don't you cultivate diligently? When you reach the 6 ultimate sect, you should cultivate diligently. With your talent, how can you submit to others? Seeing the ranking on the water mirror, Mu Xian coldly snorted. Let's go. Uncle Xian, the primogeniture statue comprehension token given to me by my family has been obtained by this person. Young Master Mu saw Mu Xian's arrival and knew that he had come to his backer. He hurriedly spoke to Mu Xian. This person schemed and cheated the primogeniture statue comprehension token. What's going on? Hearing this, Mu Xian immediately looked at young Master Mu. It's like this. Young Master Mu exaggerated and narrated what had just happened. However, he avoided the fact that he took the initiative to provoke Chu Fengmian first. He spoke as if Chu Fengmian deliberately framed young Master Mu. The whole place was silent. The warriors and demon gods present knew what had just happened. They could hear that young Master Mu was spouting nonsense. But now no one dared to speak. Chu Fengmian dared to go against young Master Mu, but it didn't mean that they dared. Moreover, young Master Mu was about to join the Six Ultimate Sect, one of the 4 sections. His future was limitless. Offending young Master Mu now was courting death. As for Chu Fengmian, he was too lazy to refute. The corner of his mouth revealed a cold smile. This Mu Xian was obviously a member of the Mu family. Could it be that he was here to uphold justice? Young Master Mu's words were just an excuse. Even if Chu Fengmian refuted, it was meaningless. He was too lazy to waste his breath. How stupid. Mu Xian reprimanded young Master Mu after hearing his words. I was careless. At this time, young Master Mu was no longer as arrogant as before. He spoke respectfully. At the same time, he looked at Chu Fengmian and sneered in his heart. So what if Chu Fengmian won the bet today? He had to spit out all the benefits. The primogeniture statue comprehension token belongs to my Mu family. Little brat, you tricked me into taking it. Since this brat is stupid, I will not punish you today. Hand over the primogeniture statue comprehension token. Mu Xian looked at Chu Fengmian and slowly opened his mouth. 50,000 Jade Dragon Great Pills was nothing to him. But this primogeniture statue comprehension token had great value. As soon as these words were spoken, the atmosphere at the scene became extremely cold. Although the elders of the 8 halls were all present, none of them were prepared to speak up to dissuade him. Mu Xian was a disciple of the 6 Ultimate Sect. His future achievements would far surpass theirs. Each and every one of them wanted to curry favor with Mu Xian, who would stand up for Chu Fengmian at this time for no reason. As for who was right and who was wrong at this time, it no longer had any meaning. To them, only benefits were eternal. Should I use my full strength? Chu Fengmian pondered. Obviously, this wouldn't end well. The primogeniture statue comprehension token was extremely valuable. Chu Fengmian wouldn't be willing to give it up just like that. But with Mu Xian's strength, unless Chu Fengmian used his full strength, he wouldn't have a chance to contend against him. This was the Sacred Dragon's secret realm. There were many experts, including Emperor Gu. Once Chu Fengmian used his full strength, all of his trump cards would be exposed. Chu Fengmian had too many secrets. Once he used his full strength, it would attract the attention of countless experts. One must know that the secrets on Chu Fengmian's body were something that even Emperor Gu would want to obtain. What should I do? Chu Fengmian couldn't think of a solution in his mind. Mu Xian's face had already turned impatient. With his status, it was Chu Fengmian's honor to talk to a junior like Chu Fengmian. But now, Chu Fengmian actually ignored him. Looks like you don't plan to hand over the primogeniture statue comprehension token. I gave you a chance, but you didn't want it. Don't blame me. Give it to me. Rumble. At this moment, Mu Xian suddenly made his move. He grabbed at Chu Fengmian as if he wanted to suppress Chu Fengmian alive. Screw it. Murderous intent surged in Chu Fengmian's eyes. If he were to fall into Mu Xian's hands, Chu Fengmian would probably beg for death. With the grudge between Chu Fengmian and young Master Mu would definitely not let him off. Chu Fengmian gathered his spirit energy and was about to make his move. In the sky, a ray of light suddenly descended. This ray of light forcibly blocked the power of Mu Xian in front of Chu Fengmian. At the same time, a figure appeared in the sky. It was a very young man with a 5-color ray of light behind his back. Each ray of light contained a terrifying power. Chu Fengmian could sense that this young man's cultivation was only at the 3 Tribulation True Emperor realm. However, his power was definitely at the level of a 6 Tribulation True Emperor. Even this ray of light was enough to suppress Mu Xian. Luo Kong, this is my Mu clan's business. Why are you interfering? Mu Xian's eyes flashed with a hint of dread after seeing the newcomer. You're meddling too much. It doesn't matter if I'm meddling too much. You're the one who's attacking our Holy Dragon Sect's disciple. The young man named Luo Kong flickered and appeared in front of Chu Fengmian. Chu Fengmian, right? From now on, you're a disciple of our Holy Dragon sect. I'm here on orders to receive you. Holy Dragon sect. From Luo Kang's actions, everyone could see that he was definitely a disciple of one of the four sections, a 3 Tribulation True Emperor with the power of 6 Tribulation True Emperor. He was definitely a monstrous genius. However, no one expected him to be a disciple of the mysterious Holy Dragon sect. He came to take Chu Fengmian to the sect. It has been decades since the last time the Holy Dragon sect accepted a disciple. Who would have thought that Chu Fengmian would actually join them? Holy Dragon sect? When he heard Luo Kang's words, the smug look on young Master Mu's face turned ugly. He thought that he could use young Master Mu's power to suppress Chu Fengmian. But now, Chu Fengmian was a disciple of the Holy Dragon sect. The Holy Dragon sect was the leader of the 4 sections. Even 6 Ultimate sect was below it. Junior brother, come with me. Chapter 1302. Luo Kang completely ignored Mu Xian as he spoke to Chu Fengmian. Mu Xian's expression turned ugly after being ignored by Luo Kang. Even if he's a disciple of the Holy Dragon sect, he still has to give us an explanation for robbing our Mu clan. Hand over the primogenitor token, and I'll let you go. Idiot, the people of the Mu clan are indeed shameless. Before Mu Xian could finish speaking, Luo Kang interrupted him. Junior brother, let's go. Let's see if he dares to stop us. Luo Kang took Chu Fengmian and flew up, turning into a ray of light as they prepared to leave. Stop right there. Mu Xian's expression turned infuriated after being ignored by Luo Kang. In his anger, Mu Xian suddenly attacked. Spiritual energy filled the sky as it swept towards Chu Fengmian and Luo Kang. Mu Xian, do you want to fight me? Although you're 2 levels higher than me, it's still a piece of cake for me to deal with you. The corner of Luo Kang's mouth curled up into a sneer as another ray of light appeared behind him. Wherever the ray of light passed, Mu Xian's spiritual energy was mercilessly shattered. Even though Mu Xian's cultivation was far higher than Luo Kang's strength surpassed Mu Xian's in a real fight. This is a disciple of the Holy Dragon sect? His strength is indeed terrifying. Chu Fengmian was secretly shocked after seeing Luo Kang's strength. He could easily fight someone 3 levels higher than him, especially when he was an Emperor Realm Master. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to call him a monster. Moreover, this wasn't even Luo Kang's full strength. No wonder the Holy Dragon sect was known as the #1 sect. If every disciple was as monstrous as this, it would be terrifying. Such terrifying strength. This is a disciple of the Holy Dragon sect? Everyone in the Holy Dragon secret domain knew of the Holy Dragon sect's prestige, but very few had actually seen a disciple of the Holy Dragon sect. After seeing Luo Kang's attack, everyone understood that the rumors about the Holy Dragon sect were not exaggerated. Luo Kang was only a 3 Tribulation True Emperor, but he could easily suppress Mu Xian, who was a 5 Tribulation True Emperor. Especially Mu Xian, who was also a genius and a disciple of the 6 Ultimate sect. Although many of the elders of the 8 halls were 6 Tribulation True Emperors, they were no match for Mu Xian. But now, Luo Kang could easily suppress Mu Xian. If Luo Kang took a step further, his strengths, he would be close to Emperor Gu's level. Such a prodigy was indeed a disciple of the Holy Dragon sect. Damn it! Mu Heaven's Mu Whip. Mu Xian was pushed back by a single move, and his face turned even uglier. Under Mu's Mu's ins, Mu Xian's Mu was. Xian Mu was Mu's Tian was. He Mu used using Mu lane. S. Luo Kang let out a disdainful laugh as the 5-colored light behind him shone again. Mu's. Mu. S Mu's. Lumu Kang, king of inner demons. Boom! A figure suddenly appeared behind Chu Fengmian and pointed a finger at Mu Xian. The moment the Mind Spirit Monarch appeared, everyone present could feel the inner demons in their hearts beginning to churn with eagerness. This was especially so for Mu Xian, who was standing right in front of the king of the inner demons. He felt dizzy and spat out a mouthful of blood. What is this? Why did it trigger my inner demon? Mu Xian was already furious. His mind was unstable. Under the influence of the king of the inner demon, he couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. At the same time, a pitch-black figure appeared behind Mu Xian. It was his inner demon about to break out of his body. What is this? Luo Kong, who was standing behind Chu Fengmian, was shocked. Given his state of mind, the king of the inner demon wouldn't be able to affect him. However, Luo Kong could tell that the king of the inner demon was a terrifying existence. If the king of the inner demon suddenly appeared during a battle, one would be distracted for a moment. In a battle between sovereigns, a moment of distraction was enough to determine the outcome. This junior brother is interesting. However, Luo Kong wasn't worried. Instead, he was happy. Chu Fengmian had joined the Holy Dragon sect. The stronger Chu Fengmian was, the happier he was. Chu Fengmian looked at Mu Xian and activated the king of the inner demon without holding back. Earlier, Chu Fengmian had wanted to deal with Mu Xian. However, it wasn't convenient for him to do so. Now that he had joined the Holy Dragon sect, Chu Fengmian had a backer in the Sacred Dragon secret realm. Chu Fengmian could finally act freely. Countless inner demons surged from Mu Xian's body. The demons roared as if they wanted to erode his mind. Stop! Just as Mu Xian's mind was being eroded by the inner demons, a ray of golden light suddenly descended from the sky and landed on Mu Xian's body. Mu Xian's eroded mind was slowly awakened by this ray of golden light. A powerhouse has made his move. The owner of this ray of golden light was definitely Emperor Gu, as it could easily suppress the power of the king of the inner demon. King of the inner demon, come back. It wouldn't be difficult for Chu Fengmian to kill Mu Xian if he unleashed his full power. However, Chu Fengmian would have to be cautious if he encountered Emperor Gu. The king of the inner demon returned to Chu Fengmian's side and stood in front of him, ready to strike at any time. Humph! A cold snort reverberated through the sky and smashed into everyone's hearts. Everyone could feel the anger contained in this cold snort. An old man had appeared beside Mu Xian. His gaze was fixed on the king of the inner demon in front of Chu Fengmian, the inner demon of Heart Scar Peak. A hint of fear flashed across the old man's eyes as he carefully observed the king of the inner demon in front of Chu Fengmian. He naturally knew about the inner demon of Heart Scar Peak. Heart Scar Peak had become famous because of this. It was no wonder that there had been rumors some time ago that the inner demon of Heart Scar Peak had weakened. He had never imagined that the inner demon would actually be taken away. Greetings, Emperor Gu. Chapter 1303. Seeing the appearance of this old man, the elders from the 8 halls all hurriedly greeted him. A Sixth Tribulation True Emperor was only one level away from Emperor Gu, but their statuses were completely different. Not even one out of 106 Tribulation True Emperors could become Emperor Gu. With enough resources, it wasn't difficult for an emperor to become a Sixth Tribulation True Emperor. However, in order to reach Emperor Gu's level, resources and heaven-defying talents were also required. Both the disciples and elders didn't lack resources in the Sacred Dragon's secret realm. Thus, there were many Sixth Tribulation True Emperors, but not many of them could reach Emperor Gu's level. Moreover, each of them was a true big shot. Even Sixth Tribulation True Emperors had to greet them. A heart demon harming people at such a young age. So ruthless. Ancient Emperor Fengguang said coldly as he looked at Mu Xian and Chu Fengmian. If he didn't come, Mu Xian would have lost a layer of skin, even if he didn't die. At the very least, his mental state would have regressed by dozens of years and wouldn't be able to take another step forward. For the disciples of the Sacred Dragon's secret realm, not being able to take another step forward for dozens of years meant that they would be crippled. They might even be expelled from the 4 sects in the future. Not really. He's just reaping what he sowed. Chu Fengmian smiled faintly. He was not afraid, even when facing ancient Emperor Fengguang. Earlier, Mu Xian wanted to suppress Chu Fengmian first. Chu Fengmian wouldn't be far from death after falling into this person's hands. Letting Mu Xian suffer a loss and affect his mental state for dozens of years was already merciful enough. Hearing this, ancient Emperor Fengguang's gaze turned a lot colder. So young, yet so evil. Clearly, you're not from the right path. Come with me to the enforcement hall to see if you're a spy from the devil race. Ancient Emperor Fenghuang glanced at Chu Fengmian and suddenly moved his finger. Chu Fengmian could feel that the surrounding power of heaven and earth was being controlled by Ancient Emperor Fenghuang. Ancient Emperor Fenghuang was suppressing Chu Fengmian's body, trying to suppress him. Emperor Gu Fangguang. This person is a disciple of the Holy Dragon sect. Whether or not he's a demon spy is up to the Holy Dragon sect. Why? Do you intend to interfere with the matters of the Holy Dragon sect? At that instant, Luo Kong suddenly spoke. At the same time, a jade talisman flew out from his hand. There was a dragon-shaped imprint engraved on the jade talisman. The power contained within the jade talisman was even stronger than the power of Emperor Gu. Holy Dragon sect. The moment he saw the jade talisman, Emperor Gu of Fangguang's expression changed slightly. The power in his hand also weakened. Even he was extremely wary of the jade talisman. Good Holy Dragon sect. Today, I can't be bothered to argue with a few juniors. Emperor Gu of Fangguang snorted and withdrew the spiritual power from Chu Fengmian. At the same time, he looked at Chu Fengmian and said, "But remember, Junior, if you dare to hurt my disciple, I will definitely go to the Holy Dragon sect and settle the score with you." After saying that, Emperor Gu of Fangguang ignored Chu Fengmian and Luo Kong. He grabbed Mu Xian and young Master Mu and turned into a beam of light and flew away. This kid is going to be troublesome in the future. Many people in the crowd looked at Chu Fengmian and whispered. Emperor Gu of Fangguang left. However, the meaning behind his last words clearly showed that he had no intention of letting Chu Fengmian off. Offending Emperor Gu was an extremely dangerous thing. Moreover, Emperor Gu of Fangguang was also Emperor Gu of the Holy Dragon's secret territory. Even the Holy Dragon's secret territory could not protect Chu Fengmian. But who knows? Chu Fengmian has joined the Holy Dragon sect. Some ancient martial art practitioners could not help but comment. No matter how strong the Holy Dragon sect is, can they protect this kid forever? After offending Emperor Gu, this kid is completely finished. The crowd discussed. Many people looked at Chu Fengmian with jealousy. After all, Chu Fengmian had joined the Holy Dragon sect. Chu Fengmian did not take these discussions seriously. The arguments of a group of ants had nothing to do with him. Junior brother, let's go. I'll bring you to the Holy Dragon sect now. Since Emperor Gu of Fangguang had left, Luo Kong did not plan to stay any longer. He turned into a beam of light and flew up into the sky. Chu Fengmian followed behind. The 4 sects of the Holy Dragon secret territory were located on the 4 surrounding mountain peaks. The Holy Dragon sect was located on the tallest Holy Dragon peak. Luo Kong brought Chu Fengmian and flew all the way. The moment they got close to the Holy Dragon peak, the sky was filled with restrictive spells. Chu Fengmian looked at the restrictive spells that filled the sky. Every single one of them was extremely terrifying. Even Emperor Gu would die if he tried to force his way in. Moreover, many of the restrictive spells were extremely new. It was obvious that they were not left behind from ancient times. They had been set up not long ago. The foundation of the Holy Dragon sect is really terrifying. The owner of these restrictive spells was at least a 9 tribulations Emperor Gu. The Holy Dragon sect actually had a 9 tribulations Emperor Gu. However, these restrictive spells all retreated when they came into contact with the jade talisman in Luo Kang's hand. They opened up a path for Chu Fengmian and Luo Kong to enter. The jade talisman of the Holy Dragon sect contains the method to activate the restrictive spells on the Holy Dragon Peak. I'll pass it to you when we reach the sect. Then, you can enter and leave freely. Luo Kong smiled as he watched Chu Fengmian observe the restrictive spells on the Holy Dragon Peak. I didn't expect that there would be a newcomer this time. In this case, our Holy Dragon sect finally has another disciple. Luo Kong looked at Chu Fengmian with incomparable joy in his eyes. He seemed to be extremely happy. Our Holy Dragon sect has very few disciples? Chu Fengmian asked curiously when he saw Luo Kang's reaction. Oh, you don't know? Luo Kong looked at Chu Fengmian strangely when he heard Chu Fengmian's words. Then he smiled and said, It seems that Junior Brother doesn't know much about the Holy Dragon sect. Our Holy Dragon sect only has a total of 5 disciples. Of course, including you, we have a total of 6 disciples. As for me, I'm your 5th senior brother. 5 disciples? Chu Fumian was shocked when he heard this. Although the Holy Dragon Secret Dimension only accepted geniuses, there were more than 100,000 disciples in total. Of course, most of them were ordinary disciples. There were only a few tens of thousands of disciples. Who would have thought that the Holy Dragon sect, the leader of the 4 sects and 8 halls, only had a total of 5 disciples? Including Chu Fengmian, there were only 6. Is there really no one else? Chu Fengmian couldn't help but ask again. No. Luo Kong shook his head. If you're talking about elders or grand elders, our Holy Dragon sect doesn't have any elders. We only have 5 disciples. Including you, we have 6. Chapter 1304. There were no elders. There were only 6 disciples. Chu Fumian was dumbfounded by Luo Kang's words. Although he had heard that the Holy Dragon sect disciples were extremely rare, this was simply too rare. Compared to the entire Holy Dragon Secret Dimension, it was 1 in 10,000. Including Chu Fumian, there were only 6 people. The Holy Dragon sect was enough to be the leader of the 4 sections. Why? Is it strange? Luo Kong asked with a smile when he saw Chu Fumian's expression. Do you think that ordinary geniuses are qualified to join our Holy Dragon sect? All the Holy Dragon sect disciples are monstrous geniuses. Even if there are only 6 of us, we are still qualified to be the leader of the 4 sections. Actually, even you're not qualified to join the Holy Dragon sect. 3rd senior sister specially asked me to bring you back to observe you. But now there is no need. Luo Kong said with a smile. He was in a good mood. I didn't expect that the heart demon of Heartscar Mountain would be subdued by you. Back then, when 2nd senior brother tried to subdue it, he didn't succeed. Just based on this, you could be considered a demon. You have the qualifications to join our Holy Dragon sect. Let's go first. 3rd senior sister is still waiting. When we arrive, I will tell you more about our Holy Dragon sect. Luo Kong sped up as Chu Fumian chased after him. The 2 streaks of light raced to catch up and arrived at the Holy Dragon Peak. Compared to the other peaks that were filled with thousands of golden palaces, the Holy Dragon Peak was much quieter. There were only a few dozen palaces of various sizes hidden in the forest. Furthermore, it would appear that a large number of the palaces were no longer inhabited. They had been empty for a very long time. Only 5 of the palaces had spirit formations on them. Luo Kang's light flew all the way to a palace on the mountainside. As soon as Luo Kong arrived, Chu Fumian's escape light also arrived. Luo Kong seemed to be deliberately competing with Chu Fumian, and Chu Fumian certainly didn't dare to show weakness. His escape light wasn't inferior at all. 3rd senior sister, I have brought him. Luo Kong laughed and shouted as soon as he stepped into the palace. What a fast escape light. Looks like our 6th junior brother this time is quite capable. A woman slowly appeared within the palace. This woman appeared to be in her early 20s. She was dressed in bright purple clothes, but she did not appear seductive. Instead, she gave off a noble air. Furthermore, to Chu Fumian's surprise, there was a faintly discernible and incomparably terrifying natural energy on the body of the woman before him. This kind of power. Emperor Gu. The woman in front of him was Emperor Gu. The disciples of the Holy Dragon sect were all Emperor Gu. Chu Fumian was startled. The ancient emperor was considered a grand elder in the sacred dragon mystery domain. However, this 3rd senior sister was already an ancient emperor. Then, there was also 2nd senior brother and eldest senior brother. How strong were they? Moreover, this woman was likely much stronger than Emperor Gu of Fanguan. This is our Holy Dragon sect's 3rd senior sister, Qingming. Luo Kong, who was at the side, introduced. Chu Fumian was startled and immediately reacted. Greetings, 3rd senior sister. Junior brother, there's no need to be so restrained. Our Holy Dragon sect does not have those so-called rules. There's only one rule. Once you enter the Holy Dragon sect, you must be united. No one is allowed to harm fellow disciples. Other than that, there are no other rules. Even if you leave the Holy Dragon mystery domain in the future, it will be the same. Luo Kong smiled casually when he saw Chu Fengmian's restraint. Leave the Holy Dragon Mystery Domain? Chu Fengmian did not react when he heard this. Fifth junior brother, let's not talk about these digressions. Since you've accepted him, what do you think of our sixth junior brother? Third senior sister Qingming glanced at Luo Kong and asked casually. Don't worry, sixth junior brother is definitely qualified to join our Holy Dragon sect. Just now, he almost killed that trash Mu Xian. Luo Kang's tone was somewhat unhappy when he mentioned Mu Xian. He seemed to be a little resentful. However, when he thought of Mu Xian's defeat just now, a smile appeared on his face. Oh, almost killed Mu Xian? Is that true? Qingming couldn't believe it and glanced at Chu Fengmian. After all, Mu Xian was a 5 Tribulation True Emperor. His true strength was not weak among 6 Tribulation True Emperors. Chu Fengmian was only at the Immortal Realm. The gap between their cultivation levels was too great. Qingming would believe it if Luo Kong killed Mu Xian, but Chu Fengmian. I borrowed some external power. Chu Fengmian casually replied. At the same time, the king of the inner demon suddenly appeared behind him. Chu Fengmian could see that the disciples of the Holy Dragon sect were all monstrous geniuses. If one didn't display enough talent, they wouldn't be able to join their ranks. Inner demon? What is that? It looks like an inner demon, but it's even stronger and an independent existence. Qingming's Dao heart fluctuated when she saw the king of the inner demon. Although it was weak, it was enough to represent the king of the inner demon and affect Emperor Gu. Of course, this was the result of Chu Fengmian not activating the king of the inner demon. Once he did, even Emperor Gu would be affected by the king of the inner demon. In this world, the most difficult thing to deal with was the inner demon. There was no way to guard against it. Only someone like Chu Fengmian who had experienced life and death and had lived 2 lives wouldn't be affected by it. Heart Scar Peak. This is the Heart Scar Peak's devil. Qingming pondered for a moment and suddenly understood what kind of existence this Heart Demon King was. Very good. This is an unexpected surprise. Even the ancient emperor could not subdue this Heart Demon. You actually managed to do so. In the future, when you grow stronger, this Heart Demon will be even more useful to you. Given Green Dream's strength, she could naturally tell that the king of the inner demons wasn't just a mere king of the inner demons. An ownerless king of the inner demon was enough to make Emperor Gu unable to subdue it. Now that the king of the inner demon was under Chu Fengmian's control, it would be even more terrifying. If Chu Fengmian released the king of the inner demon while fighting against others, it could stir up the opponent's inner demons at a critical moment and kill them with one blow. You are qualified to join the Holy Dragon sect based on this. Qingming looked at Chu Fengmian with delight. The last time was Luo Kong. He joined the Holy Dragon sect 25 years ago. Finally, I have another junior brother. After witnessing Chu Fengmian's strength, Qingming also acknowledged Chu Fengmian joining the Holy Dragon sect and became much friendlier. Chapter 1305. There were very few disciples in the Holy Dragon sect. Usually, there would only be 2 or 3 people in the Holy Dragon secret dimension. Now, there was one more person, Chu Fengmian. Our Holy Dragon sect doesn't have an elder or a sect master. Everyone addresses each other as senior brothers, with eldest senior brother as the leader. However, eldest senior brother isn't usually in the Holy Dragon secret dimension. If there's anything, you can look for me. Qingming looked at Chu Fengmian and turned to Luo Kong with a smile. 5th junior brother, 6th junior brother has just joined the sect. You can lead him to get his identity badge. After Qingming finished speaking, her figure flashed and disappeared from the palace. Given Qingming's strength, even Chu Fengmian couldn't see how she left. 6th junior brother, let's go first. Luo Kong turned and walked out of the palace. Chu Fengmian followed behind him. Luo Kong led Chu Fengmian all the way to a palace at the top of the mountain. This palace appeared to be incomparably ancient, and its surface was covered with countless runes. At a glance, one could even see numerous cracks on the walls. Mysterious crystal jade iron. A palace made of mysterious crystal jade iron? It's actually cracked? Chu Fengmian took a closer look at the palace, and his eyes widened. This palace was made of mysterious crystal jade iron, a material used by countless Emperor Gu to refine weapons. Even Emperor Gu couldn't leave a mark on it. This palace was made of mysterious crystal jade iron, but it was cracked. This was something that even in 9 tribulations Emperor Gu couldn't do. This palace is called the Holy Dragon Palace. It used to be the palace of the Holy Dragon sect master. The cracks on it were left behind by our sect master when he was cultivating. It contains his martial way. If you have time, you can come and study it. Luo Kong wasn't surprised by Chu Fengmian's surprise. It was the same when he first came to the Holy Dragon sect. Moreover, he came to the Holy Dragon sect from the 8 halls. Chu Fengmian was a newcomer, so it was normal that he didn't know. It's not just this one. Almost all the palaces on Sacred Dragon Peak have traces of their former owner's martial Dao. You can comprehend martial Dao from them. That's right, junior brother. You can choose a palace to be your cave dwelling. Of course, you can also build your own palace. Luo Kong explained in detail. Let's go first. We'll talk more when we get inside. As Luo Kong spoke, he took a step into the Sacred Dragon Palace. Chu Fengmian followed closely behind and stepped out as well. The moment he stepped into the palace, Chu Fengmian felt the world spinning around him. All of a sudden, the scenery around him changed and turned into a valley. The spirit chi in the valley was extremely dense. The spirit chi in the Holy Dragon Secret Dimension was already extremely dense. However, the spirit chi in the valley was several hundred times denser than the spirit chi in the Holy Dragon Secret Dimension. It was as if Chu Fengmian was refining a large number of spirit stones with every breath he took. He could condense several spirit stones with a casual pinch, forming a small world of its own. This is already the pinnacle of a heavenly spiritual treasure. This is a palace. Chu Fengmian muttered to himself. This palace was not inferior to the Sword Sovereign Palace of the Master of Sword Principle. It was an existence that could form a small world of its own. However, the Sword Sovereign Palace was already severely damaged. Back at the Flame Heavenly Lake, the Sword Sovereign Palace had not recovered from the heavenly fire. It was far from being able to contend against the Holy Dragon Palace. That's right. This small world is the foundation of our Holy Dragon sect. Other than our Holy Dragon sect disciples, even the supreme elders of the Holy Dragon Secret Dimension are not qualified to step into it. Luo Kong said with a proud look on his face. The Holy Dragon sect's position in the Holy Dragon Secret Dimension was indeed extraordinary. Even a small disciple like him was on equal footing with the elders of the 4 sections. Even the supreme elders were not qualified to interfere in the matters of the Holy Dragon sect. If junior brother intends to cultivate in seclusion, you can come to the Holy Dragon Palace. No one will disturb you. As Luo Kong spoke, he stepped into the valley. He took out a jade talisman from within and handed it to Chu Fengmian. The 2 words Holy Dragon were engraved on the jade talisman. The moment Chu Fengmian took it, the jade talisman suddenly merged with the jade talisman in front of Chu Fengmian's chest. The 2 words Holy Dragon were also engraved on it. From now on, junior brother, you are a disciple of the Holy Dragon sect. Once you become a Holy Dragon disciple, you can be promoted to the level of a true disciple. When there is time, I will bring you to the disciple hall to be promoted. Promoted to a true disciple directly. Chu Fengmian had heard that once one became a disciple of the 4 sects, one would at least be an inner disciple. However, he did not expect the Holy Dragon sect to be so exaggerated that one could be promoted to a true disciple directly. If a disciple of the Holy Dragon Secret Dimension wanted to be promoted, it was not as simple as strength. They also needed a large amount of contribution points. They even needed to complete some tasks and work for the sect before they could be promoted. An ordinary disciple might not be able to be promoted to a true disciple even after 100 years. Now that Chu Fengmian had just joined the Holy Dragon sect, he was qualified to be promoted to a true disciple. It could be said that he was extremely lucky. Becoming a true disciple would not only increase one's status, but also obtain more resources in the Holy Dragon Secret Dimension. There were only a few thousand true disciples in the entire Holy Dragon Secret Dimension. Oh yes, Here's a jade talisman left behind by senior brother. I can give it to you now." Luo Kong handed over another jade talisman. The appearance of this jade talisman was extremely similar to the jade talisman that Luo Kong had taken out when facing Emperor Gu Fangguang. Just from the power of this jade talisman, Chu Fengmian could clearly feel that the power it contained was even more terrifying than the power of an ancient emperor. If this power exploded in an instant, even Emperor Gu might not be able to withstand it. This jade talisman was personally refined by senior brother. Every disciple of the Holy Dragon sect has one. It is enough to protect ourselves at a critical moment. With this jade talisman, even Emperor Gu would not dare to do anything to us. Luo Kong said. Just now, he had used this jade talisman to force Emperor Gu to leave. Even Emperor Gu would choose to leave when faced with this jade talisman. Senior brother? Refined jade talisman? Chu Fengmian took the jade talisman. Looking at it from afar, Chu Fengmian could see how terrifying this jade talisman was. Now that Chu Fengmian held it in his hand, he could almost feel a strong surge of spiritual energy that was about to explode from this jade talisman. Chapter 1306. The power of this jade talisman could only be unleashed once. However, once this jade talisman was unleashed, it would have the power to destroy heaven and earth. It would not be a problem to kill Emperor Gu. How strong is our eldest senior brother? Chu Fengmian suddenly asked. This mysterious eldest senior brother had refined a jade talisman that had the power to kill the ancient emperor. How frightening was eldest senior brother's true strength? Chu Fengmian even had a feeling that this mysterious eldest senior brother was more powerful than the young emperor that Chu Fengmian had met. Our eldest senior brother is called Yunzun. He is a half-step heaven man, the #1 emperor of all times, invincible in the emperor realm. He is the #1 disciple of the Holy Dragon Mystery Domain. It is said that the old ancestor intended to let him be the next sect master of the Holy Dragon Mystery Domain, but he refused. When mentioning their eldest senior brother, their eyes were full of undisguised admiration. Geniuses like Luo Kong were all extremely proud people, but when they faced their eldest senior brother Yunzun, their eyes were full of admiration. Half-step heaven man, the #1 emperor of all times, the #1 person of the Holy Dragon Mystery Domain. Hearing this, Chu Fengmian was shocked. Half-step heaven man, invincible in the emperor realm. What kind of person could have such an evaluation? To be called a half-step heaven man, Yunzun's strength had surpassed that of the 9 tribulations Emperor Gu. He was close to becoming a heaven man. Moreover, our eldest senior brother is only a little over 100 years old this year. He is almost a heaven man in the future and will ascend to immortality. Luo Kong spoke again. This time, even Chu Fengmian was shocked. A little over 100 years old, and he was already Emperor Gu of the 9 tribulations. A half-step heaven man? One must know that for a cultivator, 100 years old was almost the same age as a newcomer. For example, many newcomers in the Holy Dragon Mystery Domain were already over 100 years old. Although Luo Kong was young, he was at least close to 100 years old. Stepping into the Emperor realm at the age of 100 was enough to be regarded as a peerless genius. In many continents, such a genius was enough to leave their name in history and be admired by tens of thousands of people. Yet now, Luo Kong had said that his eldest martial brother Yunzun was only over 100 years old. Thus, how could Chu Fengmian not be shocked? Then he's still eldest senior brother? Suddenly, Chu Fengmian said doubtfully, that third senior sister, Qing Ming, whom he had just seen, was probably a few hundred years old, while eldest senior brother was only a little over 100 years old. Oh, our Holy Dragon sect's ranking doesn't depend on age or time of entry. It only depends on strength. If you can defeat me, you'll be the 5th senior brother, and I'll be your junior brother. Luo Kong looked at Chu Fengmian and smiled. Since eldest senior brother came to the Holy Dragon sect, he has defeated everyone in every 10 years. Naturally, he will be the eldest senior brother. Of course, 6th junior brother, you can challenge me if you want. As long as you defeat me, you will be my senior brother. Strength reigns supreme. These words popped up in Chu Fengmian's mind. However, Chu Fengmian also understood that for a venerable sovereign, living for tens of thousands of years was not a problem. For many demon immortals, they could even live up to 100,000 years. Age meant nothing to them. Since they had stepped into the world of martial Tao, they naturally respected the martial Tao and strength reigned supreme. Fifth senior brother, do you want to spar with me? Chu Fengmian looked at Luo Kong beside him and suddenly said with a smile, "Why? Do you really want to challenge me?" Luo Kong was stunned when he heard Chu Fengmian's words. Then he laughed. When eldest senior brother first entered the Holy Dragon sect, he also cultivated hard for 10 years before coming to challenge me. Now that you've arrived, you want to challenge me? Well then, Luo Kong was just about to accept the challenge when he suddenly thought of something and hurriedly shook his head. Forget it, forget it. I better not fight with you. I'm afraid that I'll be affected by your inner demon. When the time comes, it will affect my Tao heart. The gains won't make up for the losses. Luo Kong suddenly thought of Chu Fengmian's king of inner demons. He didn't take Chu Fengmian's strength seriously, but if Chu Fengmian activated the king of inner demons in a fight, it would definitely be enough to affect his Tao heart. Once his Tao heart was affected, his realm would be unstable at best. In the worst case, he would die on the spot. Luo Kong didn't dare to take this risk. I won't use the king of inner demons. How about it? Chu Fengmian smiled when he heard Luo Kang's words. You won't use the inner demon? Luo Kang's eyes flashed with surprise. He originally thought that Chu Fengmian was relying on the king of inner demons. Indeed, even he felt that the king of inner demons' power was incomparably troublesome and difficult to deal with. But now, Chu Fengmian actually wanted to fight without using the king of inner demons. Since you've said so, I'll accept it. However, this battle will end when it's appropriate. I don't want to hurt you, so that third senior sister won't blame me. Luo Kong looked around, and his figure flashed as he laughed loudly. There's an arena outside the valley. Let's fight there. All right. Chu Fengmian followed Luo Kong and left the valley in a flash of light. There was an arena outside the valley. Clearly, this was the Holy Dragon Palace, where the Holy Dragon sect's disciples sparred. Many jade bottles were placed at the edge of the arena. They contained sacred healing medicines that could restore spiritual energy. Chu Fengmian and Luo Kong stepped onto the arena. Many restrictions formed around the arena, keeping them inside. This way, the battle in the arena wouldn't affect the outside world. Sixth junior brother, you're the junior brother. You'll be the first to fight. Luo Kong looked at Chu Fengmian with a confident smile. His realm was 4 levels higher than Chu Fengmian's. Moreover, Luo Kong was a peerless genius to be able to join the Holy Dragon sect. He was confident that he would win this battle. All right then, be careful. Chu Fengmian didn't decline. In an instant, he attacked. Chu Fengmian wanted to see how heaven-defying the strength of the Holy Dragon sect's disciples were. Although Luo Kong had fought with Mu Xian before, Chu Fengmian could tell that Luo Kong hadn't used his true strength. Chu Fengmian had fought countless geniuses along the way. He wasn't afraid of anyone. Today, he was going to fight with a genius from the extraterritorial starry sky. Battle Dragon Claw. The Battle Dragon bloodline within Chu Fengmian's body suddenly flared up. Then a Battle Dragon Claw appeared in the sky above his head and slammed down towards Luo Kong. On the other side, Luo Kang's face was extremely calm. However, rays of multicolored light formed behind him. Multicolored light appeared behind him and formed a barrier in front of the descending Battle Dragon Claw. Chapter 1307. Chu Fengmian's Battle Dragon Claw descended from the sky and collided with the 5-colored radiance. Chu Fengmian didn't hold back the power of this Battle Dragon Claw. He had a fortuitous encounter in the Nether Ghost realm, and his strength had improved further. This Battle Dragon Claw was comparable to a 5 Tribulation True Emperor's all-out attack, but it still couldn't shake the 5-colored radiance. What a strong defense! Chu Fengmian's eyes flickered as he looked at Luo Kong with a serious expression. Sure enough, none of the disciples of the Holy Dragon sect were ordinary people. The 5-colored radiance behind Luo Kong was both offensive and defensive. This person must have cultivated an incredible cultivation method. However, it wasn't just Chu Fengmian who was shocked. Luo Kong was also shocked when he took on the Battle Dragon Claw. This was a power comparable to a 5 Tribulation True Emperor. One had to know that Chu Fengmian wasn't even a quasi-emperor. He was only at the immortal realm, but he already possessed such terrifying power. Even Luo Kong was only able to do this when he reached the emperor realm. I didn't expect junior brother to be so strong. It seems that you will surpass me soon, but you are still lacking a little. Luo Kong laughed, and his eyes became serious. He didn't consider Chu Fengmian as an opponent at first, but now that he saw Chu Fengmian's strength, he understood that Chu Fengmian wasn't someone he could defeat in a few moves. Condense. Luo Kong clenched his right hand, and the 5-colored radiance behind him flew out and turned into a spear in his hand. He thrust it directly at Chu Fengmian. This 5-colored light was like the power of the 5 elements. However, it was much more mysterious than the power of the 5 elements. Every move was able to complement each other, and it was able to unleash a power that was dozens of times stronger than the power of the 5 elements. Good. Chu Fengmian laughed when he saw the spear coming towards him. He was delighted to fight with such a genius. Soaring Serpent Transformation. Everything that happened in the Holy Dragon Temple couldn't be detected from the outside, so Chu Fengmian didn't need to hide. Suddenly, the Soaring Serpent bloodline boiled in Chu Fengmian's body. An illusory image of a flying serpent shrouded Chu Fengmian's body. In an instant, Chu Fengmian's aura became several times more terrifying. His cultivation realm was no longer comparable to that of a quasi-emperor. Suddenly, Chu Fengmian clenched his fist towards the long spear. The long spear was crushed in Chu Fengmian's hand. Innate divine beast? This is the power of the soaring serpent. Luo Kong was shocked to see the tongue serpent shadow appear on Chu Fengmian's body. Then, he realized which innate divine beast this was. The soaring serpent, the god of the earth, symbolized supreme power. Although he knew that behind Chu Fengmian's strength, there must be a shocking fortuitous encounter, but he didn't expect that Chu Fengmian even had the bloodline of an innate divine beast. Your bloodline is strong, but your cultivation level is still too low. Sword, spear, halberd. Luo Kong shouted coldly. The 5-colored light behind him condensed into a different weapon and pierced towards Chu Fengmian. He could see that the bloodline of the soaring serpent was activated using a secret technique. It couldn't be maintained for long. These 3 weapons slashed at Chu Fengmian almost one after another. The multicolored light burst out completely, shrouding the whole area as it slashed toward Chu Fengmian from all directions. Sky-ripping claw. Chu Fengmian also uttered a cold roar. The 40,000 formations on the Battle Dragon Claw were unleashed all of a sudden, causing the Battle Dragon Claw to transform. As the claw lashed out, the sky was about to be torn apart. The multicolored light that filled the sky was forcibly torn apart. Progenitor Tianlong's bloodline? Another innate divine beast bloodline? Luo Kong looked as if he had seen a ghost when he saw this. Even in the sacred dragon's secret ground, there were only a few demon immortals who possessed the innate divine beast bloodline. This kind of fortuitous encounter was definitely the rarest in the world. The fact that Chu Fengmian possessed one type of innate divine beast bloodline was already shocking enough. However, Chu Fengmian now possessed a second type. It was unprecedented for 2 types of innate divine beast bloodline to appear in one person's body at the same time. It's not over yet. Just as the 5-colored sunglow behind Luo Kong started to reconstruct itself, a huge vortex suddenly shrouded Luo Kang's head. The vortex began to spin continuously, devouring all of the surrounding 5-colored sunglow. What is this? Another innate divine beast's aura? Heaven-devouring beast? Luo Kang's mind was completely blank. Luo Kong found it hard to believe that Chu Fengmian possessed 2 types of innate divine beast bloodline. Now there's a 3rd type? By the time he reacted, his body had already been devoured by the vortex. Stop, stop, stop. Luo Kong hurriedly waved his hand. Seeing this, Chu Fengmian withdrew all the spiritual energy in his body. At the same time, he also secretly dispersed the heaven-devouring secret skill. Luo Kong landed on the ground with a nervous look in his eyes. If he had really fallen into the heaven-devouring secret skill just now, he would have died without a doubt. How? How could you possess so many types of innate divine beast bloodline? Luo Kong stared at Chu Fengyan as if he had seen a ghost. A martial artist with 3 types of innate divine beast bloodline. Even in history, there had never been such a monstrous figure. Was he still human? Chu Fengyan, who had inherited the power of 3 types of innate divine beast bloodline, could easily suppress Luo Kong. Although Chu Fengyan had seized the opportunity because Luo Kong was a little absent-minded, he would have been defeated without a doubt. I've lost. I didn't expect to become junior brother again. Although Luo Kong had lost, his expression did not change. He only glanced at Chu Fengyan and said with a sigh, I didn't expect such a monster to come to our Holy Dragon sect. Apart from eldest senior brother, there is no one else who can match your aptitude. It's not wrong for me to lose to a little monster. Luo Kong was very frank. There was nothing he could not afford to lose. His skills were inferior. Moreover, Chu Fengyan possessed 3 types of innate divine beast bloodline. Such a monstrous figure had never been born in history. It was not a big deal for him to lose to Chu Fengyan. Give me your jade talisman, Luo Kong said to Chu Fengyan. Chu Fengyan took the jade talisman and handed it to Luo Kong. Luo Kong took out his jade talisman and pointed at it. On Chu Fengyan's jade talisman, there was a number 6 behind the 2 words Holy Dragon. Now it had become 5. The number in Luo Kang's hand had become 6. Chapter 1308. From now on, you're the 5th disciple of the Holy Dragon sect. Luo Kong looked at Chu Fengyan and curled his lips. Senior brother, if I knew you had such strength, I wouldn't have fought against Mu Xian. If you had fought, Emperor Gu of Fangguang wouldn't have had a chance to save that trash. Senior brother? Chu Fengyan was stunned. Before he could react, Luo Kong had already addressed him as senior brother. Of course, our Holy Dragon sect respects strength. Since you've defeated me, you're my senior brother. Of course, I'll defeat you sooner or later. Even if you have 3 types of innate divine beast bloodlines, I have a total of 9 destructive rays. I've only cultivated 5 of them. Once I've cultivated all 9, I'll be as beautiful as a heavenly being. At that time, I'll challenge you again. Luo Kong said with a smile. He didn't care about it at all. To him, a loss was a loss. As long as it was in the future, he would win again. A firm Dao heart. Chu Fengyan looked at Luo Kong and thought to himself. Experts didn't only have one path to be a tyrant. Luo Kong had the heart of an expert. Even if he was defeated, he believed that he would win. In this way, he would definitely win in the future. Many geniuses, for example, had an unstable Dao heart. Once they were defeated, they would not be able to recover from a setback. Many amazing geniuses in history had fallen silent after a battle. However, the Tao of dominance had its benefits. It was enough to motivate oneself. Chu Fengyan walked the Tao of dominance and was invincible. Luo Kong walked to the edge of the arena and picked up a jade bottle. He opened it and took out the elixir. After swallowing it, his spiritual energy was quickly restored. Senior brother, I see that you have the bloodline of primogenitor Tianlong. You must be here for the primogenitor statue in the Holy Dragon secret realm. Luo Kong said to Chu Fengyan with a smile. He was generous and didn't hold back at all when he addressed Chu Fengyan as senior brother. Chu Fengyan could see that Luo Kong was a magnanimous person. He never held a grudge. A friend like him was worth making. That's right, but that's not all. I'm here to find someone. Chu Fengyan looked at Luo Kong and said without hiding anything. Since Chu Fengyan had joined the Holy Dragon sect, he was now a member of the Holy Dragon sect. Rather than calling the Holy Dragon sect a sect, it was more like a small family. Chu Fengyan did not intend to hide anything. Unless it was a secret like an extreme immortal weapon, the power of creation, or the divine tree, Chu Fengyan didn't need to hide it. Looking for someone? Why does senior brother know someone in the sacred dragon mystery ground? Luo Kong looked at Chu Fengyan with a strange expression. He also knew Chu Fengyan's background. Chu Fengyan came from the ancient Fei continent, a level 7 continent. It was said that no one from the ancient Fey continent had come to the sacred dragon's secret realm for decades. This time, both Chu Fumian and Lu Ye had come at once. Chu Fumian suddenly said that he was looking for someone, which made Luo Kong feel a little strange. Just tell me who you're looking for. I've been in the Holy Dragon Mystery Plane for so many years, and I still have a few acquaintances. Just tell me who you're looking for. Hearing Luo Kang's words, Chu Fumian didn't decline and directly said, I'm looking for two people. They should have come to the Sacred Dragon Mystery Plane half a year ago. One of them is Han Yueli, and the other is Luo Shi. Both of them are women. Han Yueli? Luo Shi? Hearing these two names, Luo Kang's eyes suddenly widened, and he looked at Chu Fumian with a strange expression. Why, senior brother, are you also here to pursue these two women? Pursue these two women? Hearing this, Chu Fumian also asked curiously, why? Are there many people pursuing the two of them? Isn't senior brother the same? Hearing this, Luo Kang's expression became even more strange. He then said, Han Yueli and Luo Shi only came to the Sacred Dragon Mystery Plane half a year ago. However, once they arrived, they displayed incomparably monstrous talent. In just half a year, their reputation spread throughout the Sacred Dragon Mystery Plane. Not only the Sacred Dragon Mystery Plane, but also many disciples from the Avalon of Five Elements and Qilin Mountain came to pursue the two of them. There are even people who directly joined the Sacred Dragon Mystery Plane to pursue them. Isn't senior brother the same? Oh, you've misunderstood. I'm old acquaintances with the two of them. After hearing Luo Kang's words, Chu Fumian suddenly realized that there were too many demon gods who came to pursue Han Yueli and Luo Shi during this period of time. Therefore, Luo Kang thought that Chu Fumian was also here to pursue Han Yueli and Luo Shi. Old acquaintances? Could it be that you're from the same place as the two of them? Luo Kang carefully sized up Chu Fumian and asked curiously. No wonder. Both of you are evildoers. Where exactly did you come from? Why are you evildoers so much stronger than the other? And do you know where the two of them are now? Chu Fumian did not continue the topic. The fact that Chu Fumian was from the 9 regions could not be exposed. The 9 regions were once sacred grounds. Chu Fumian did not think that the 9 regions had any history, but now he knew. If the 9 regions were exposed, there would be endless trouble in the future. Chu Fumian had been a little reckless when he was in the ancient monster continent. At that time, Chu Fumian had mentioned the 9 regions. Fortunately, the ancient monster continent did not know about the existence of the 9 regions. However, this was the Sacred Dragon Mystery Plane, an incomparably ancient force. There must be some old people in the sect who knew about the 9 regions. After hearing Luo Kang's words, Han Yueli and Luo Shi obviously did not mention that they were from the 9 regions, let alone Chu Fumian. If there's a chance, it would be better to meet the two of them. I know where they are, but now is not the right time. Luo Kang replied. The two of them are now the 2 geniuses that the Sacred Dragon Mystery Plane has focused on nurturing. They should be in seclusion in one of the sacred grounds in the Sacred Dragon Mystery Plane, so they can't come out. But if you have anything to say, I can help you send a message. When the two of them come out, they will see you. Send a message to them? That would be good. Chu Fumian nodded inwardly when he heard Luo Kang's words. Since coming to the ancient monster continent, Chu Fumian had lost contact with Han Yueli and Luo Shi. Chu Fumian could still rely on the bloodline power that he had left in the two of them to know that they were living in harmony. The two of them knew nothing about Chu Fumian. Chapter 1309. With a thought, Chu Fumian condensed a jade talisman. Within the jade talisman was the word Chu and the aura of the battle dragon art. Han Yueli and Luo Shi knew Chu Fumian well, so they naturally knew the origin of this jade talisman. Even if someone else obtained it, it wouldn't expose Chu Fumian's identity. Thank you. Chu Fumian handed the jade talisman to Luo Kang. It's just a small matter for senior brother. It's nothing. Luo Kang smiled at Chu Fumian and took the jade talisman. Luo Kang could also see that Chu Feng Mian's current immortal realm cultivation was already enough to display such terrifying strength. When Chu Fengmian truly stepped into the Emperor realm in the future, he would most likely become a character comparable to the ancient emperor. Both of them were disciples of the Holy Dragon sect, so it was a good thing to have a good relationship with Chu Fengmian. Right, senior brother, the worldly laws on your body haven't reached the limit yet, right? Luo Kong turned his head and looked at Chu Fengmian. He observed that Chu Fengmian had more than 100 worldly laws on his body. This was a shocking number for an immortal realm cultivator. One had to know that Luo Kong only had 500 worldly laws. Of course, this number was several times more than an ordinary 3 Tribulation True Emperor, but it was nothing compared to Chu Fengmian. However, Luo Kong could vaguely feel that the worldly laws on Chu Fengmian's body hadn't reached the limit yet. Not bad. Chu Fengmian nodded. After killing Shui Young Noble in the Bone Temple, he took 18 worldly laws from him. Now, he had a total of 190 worldly laws on his body. This number was far from the limit of 300. 300 worldly laws should be Chu Fengmian's limit in the immortal realm. No matter what, he couldn't surpass this number. Chu Fengmian only had 190 worldly laws right now. His strength still had a lot of room for improvement. However, he didn't plan to condense the remaining 110 worldly laws casually. He wanted to condense a worldly law that was most suitable for him. I planned to study progenitor Tianlong's statue. Chu Fengmian suddenly thought of the medallion and said, "Oh, study progenitor Tianlong's statue? That's right. Senior brother has the bloodline of the Dragon Clan and contains the power of Tianlong's bloodline. It's indeed the best choice to study Tianlong's statue." Luo Kong said to Chu Fengmian, "It's a coincidence that I have nothing to do. Let's go together." "Let's go together then." Chu Fengmian did not reject Luo Kang's kind intentions. He was still a newcomer to the Sacred Dragon Mystery Realm, and there were many things that he did not understand. With Luo Kang's help, it would be much more convenient. Let's go." With that, Luo Kong flashed and turned into a streak of light, leaving the Holy Dragon Temple. Chu Fengmian's escape light followed closely behind. Although the Sacred Dragon Mystery Dimension was vast, to cultivators of their level, it was a matter of a snap of their fingers no matter where they went. In an instant, Chu Fengmian followed Luo Kong to a square. The stone dragon statue was right in front of the plaza. Although it was very close, Chu Fengmian still felt that it was somewhat unreal when he looked at it. Is this a projection? Chu Fengmian's eyes flickered as he observed it. That's right. The progenitor's statue we saw in the Holy Dragon Secret Realm was only a projection. Luo Kong nodded at Chu Fengmian's words. The progenitor statue is the top treasure in the Holy Dragon Secret Realm. Of course, it can't be viewed by anyone. Disciples of the Holy Dragon Secret Realm need 100,000 contribution points to view the statue. Of course, that's only if they are qualified. If they aren't, they won't be able to view it no matter how many contribution points they spend. Of course, senior brother now has the progenitor's medallion, so you don't need contribution points. As for qualifications, there's nothing in the Holy Dragon Secret Realm that we Holy Dragon sect disciples are not qualified to do. Pride flashed in Luo Kang's eyes when he said this. Their Holy Dragon sect might not have many people, but it was still the head of the 4 sections. Even a disciple had a high status. Let's go. There's a transfer array in front. Once we enter it, we'll reach the place where we can comprehend it. Let's go in together, Luo Kong said as he led Chu Fengmian forward. There was a palace in the square. Many disciples of the Holy Dragon Secret Realm were entering and exiting the palace. However, most of the Holy Dragon Secret Realm disciples here had already stepped into the Emperor Realm. Most of their identity tokens showed that they were true disciples. As for the inner sect disciples, they were extremely rare. As for Chu Fengmian, an immortal realm cultivator with the title of an ordinary disciple, he became an anomaly. Many curious gazes were cast towards Chu Fengmian. An ordinary disciple? He wants to comprehend the progenitor's statue? He doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Can he take out 100,000 contribution points? Lower your voice. Don't you see who's beside him? Luo Kong? It's him? Wait, he's a Holy Dragon sect disciple? There's a new disciple in the Holy Dragon sect? At this moment, many people saw the two words Holy Dragon on Chu Fengmian's identity token. Their faces changed. The Holy Dragon sect's recruitment of disciples was an earth-shattering event. Almost every Holy Dragon sect disciple would become a famous figure in the future. Their names would spread throughout the Holy Dragon's secret realm. Even Luo Kong, who was the weakest, had done many great things. He was a well-known figure. An immortal realm cultivator? Is he qualified to join the Holy Dragon sect? Some of the true disciples said as they looked at Chu Fengmian with jealousy in their eyes. The Holy Dragon sect was a place that they dreamed of joining. However, none of them were qualified to join it. As for Chu Fengmian, he looked like he was only in the immortal realm. He had not even stepped into the boundary emperor realm. Now, he had joined the Holy Dragon sect. How could they not be jealous? Lower your voice. This kid must be a Holy Dragon sect disciple. He must be a genius. So what? He's just an immortal realm cultivator. Even if he's a genius, it'll be easy for me to kill him. The cultivator said with dissatisfaction. However, he was extremely confident. After all, he was a four-tribulation true emperor. It was easy for him to deal with an immortal realm cultivator. Chapter 13:10. This cultivator was not the only one who had such thoughts. Many of the true disciples present were looking at Chu Fengmian with hostility. In their opinion, even they were not qualified to join the Holy Dragon sect. Chu Fengmian was just a newcomer. So what if he was the newcomer king? He was not qualified to join the Holy Dragon sect. After all, they were the newcomer kings when they first entered the Holy Dragon secret realm. Should someone go and teach this kid a lesson? That's right. An immortal realm kid actually became a disciple of the Holy Dragon sect. We can't deal with those monsters, but it's easy for us to trample on him. Let's challenge him and see if he dares to accept. If he dares to accept, we'll teach him a good lesson. Chu Fengmian heard all the discussions. Looks like the identity of a Holy Dragon sect disciple is really eye-catching. Chu Fengmian could not help but mutter to himself. He could clearly see the hostility of the surrounding Holy Dragon secret realm disciples. Just a bunch of trash who only know how to be jealous. All of them want to join our Holy Dragon sect, but are not qualified. Luo Kong heard the discussions and said with disdain. Of course, he knew what these people were thinking. There were many who wanted to challenge him and teach him a lesson. However, ever since Luo Kong defeated all the challengers, no one dared to make a fuss in front of him. This bunch of trash really think they can teach Senior Brother a lesson? How about it? Senior Brother, do you want to find a few people to trample on and vent your anger? Luo Kong looked at Chu Fengmian with interest and said with a smile. Since he fought with Chu Fengmian, he naturally knew Chu Fengmian's strength. Although it was just a spar, Luo Kong might not be a match for Chu Fengmian even if he used his full strength. With such strength, it was easy for him to teach a few true disciples a lesson. Teach them a lesson? Chu Fengmian was not interested. These true disciples did not even interest Chu Fengmian in fighting. Of course, you can't teach them a lesson for free. Senior Brother, you can bet with them. Luo Kong looked at Chu Fengmian and said with a smile. Betting is allowed in the Holy Dragon secret realm. Teaching them a lesson will bring you benefits. Why not? Oh, betting? Chu Fengmian's eyes lit up. He had won the Primogenitor statue meditation token from young Master Mu. This also allowed Chu Fengmian to taste the sweetness. However, young Master Mu was just a newcomer. It was difficult for him to take out 100,000 contribution points. However, the wealth of these true disciples was not limited to this. The true inheritors of the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension were capable of taking out 200,000 to 300,000 contribution points. Contribution points were wealth. Comprehending a single Primogenitor statue would already cost 100,000 contribution points. Furthermore, in the Holy Dragon Mystery Ground, contribution points were acquired everywhere. Chu Fengmian had only earned 1,300,000 contribution points after obtaining a large number of demon bones from the Nether Ghost realm. For a newcomer, this might be an astronomical figure. However, for a true disciple, even some wealthy true disciples will be able to take out this figure. To a core disciple, this amount of contribution points was nothing. If Chu Fengmian wanted to obtain the resources of the Sacred Dragon secret domain, he would first need a large amount of contribution points. While Chu Fengmian and Luo Kong were chatting, a figure appeared in front of Chu Fengmian. It was the Four Tribulation True Emperor who was boasting earlier. "You're Chu Fengmian, a new disciple of the Holy Dragon sect?" This true disciple looked at Chu Fengmian, carefully sizing up Chu Fengmian, and said disdainfully, "The dragon bloodline is nothing. I don't know how you joined the Holy Dragon sect. Brat, do you dare to fight with me?" "Not interested." Chu Fengmian glanced at the disciple and said. The bet was a good plan, but Chu Fengmian wanted to comprehend the primogeniture statue more than anything else. The moment Chu Fengmian laid his eyes on the statue, he could feel the dragon bloodline within his body boiling. Once he comprehended the statue, his strength would definitely take another step forward. As for the bet, it would be better to put it off for now. With that, Chu Fengmian prepared to continue forward. "What? You don't dare? Since when did the disciples of the Holy Dragon sect become cowards? You don't even dare to accept a challenge. How can you be a disciple of the Holy Dragon sect?" When the pro-disciple saw that Chu Fengmian was about to leave, he immediately moved and blocked Chu Fengmian's path. Scram! Chu Fengmian's eyes flashed with impatience. He didn't want to make a move, but this disciple was asking for a yard after getting an inch. In an instant, a dragon's roar emerged from Chu Fengmian's body. As the dragon's roar resounded, a terrifying spiritual energy immediately forced the direct disciple to retreat. "Want to leave? That's not up to you. You must fight with me today." The true disciple was forced back by the dragon roar, and his face turned cold. A ball of flame appeared on his body, and the power of the dragon roar resisted it. At the same time, he also attacked. The flame turned into a sea of fire and engulfed Chu Fengmian. "Enough!" Luo Kong, who was standing beside Chu Fengmian, suddenly let out a cold cry. He was somewhat unable to endure the continuous provocation of this true disciple. With a grab of his large hand, he extinguished the flame. "Didn't you want to fight? Why don't you let me fight you instead?" Luo Kong. The disciple's expression changed after seeing Luo Kong. He dared to provoke Chu Fengmian, but not Luo Kong. Keep in mind that Luo Kang's cultivation was a bit lower at 3 Tribulation True Emperor, but he had defeated a 6 Tribulation True Emperor before. He didn't dare to fight Luo Kong. Oomph. The disciple extinguished the flame and glared at Chu Fengmian. "Hiding behind others as a disciple of the Holy Dragon sect? You're a disgrace to the sect. Only a fly. If I don't kill it, it won't know the immensity of heaven and earth." Impatience flashed in Chu Fengmian's eyes after hearing the disciple. It looked like they wouldn't leave until he taught them a lesson. "Didn't you want to fight me? How about I fight you then? But just a fight is boring. Let's make the bet a little more interesting." "What did you say?" When that personal disciple heard Chu Fengmian's first sentence, he was enraged. However, when he heard the next sentence, the corners of his mouth curled into a cold smile. "Bet? Very well. Looks like you don't just want to be trampled. You're here to give away money. What do you want to bet?" Chapter 13:11. Many disciples of the Sacred Dragon's secret domain had a strange expression on their faces. Many of them were gloating over Zhuang Yan's misfortune. Is this kid courting death? Does he really think that he's invincible after joining the Sacred Dragon sect? Although Zhuang Yan is only a disciple of the 100 Battles Hall, he's still a 4 Tribulation True Emperor, an immortal realm cultivator challenging a 4 Tribulation True Emperor. Is this brat crazy? He's still too inexperienced. A newbie like him doesn't know the immensity of the Sacred Dragon secret domain. Most of the Sacred Dragon secret realm disciples present were originally extremely jealous of Chu Fengmian. Now that they saw Chu Fengmian challenge Zhuang Yan, each and every one of them revealed expressions of anticipation. They were all prepared to see how Chu Fengmian would be humiliated. "Say whatever you want. What do you want to bet?" Zhuang Yan looked at Chu Fengmian and sneered. He had heard of Chu Fengmian's monstrous talent. However, Chu Fengmian was only an immortal realm cultivator. He wasn't even a quasi-emperor yet. No matter how monstrous he was, how could he surpass 5 levels? Even the monstrous geniuses of the Sacred Dragon sect couldn't do it. What do you want to bet? Let's bet contribution points. How about 200,000 contribution points? Chu Fengmian smirked. 200,000 contribution points. You should be able to take it out. 200,000 contribution points. Zhuang Yin sneered. 200,000 it is. This is mine. As Zhuang Yin spoke, he took out his identity badge. With a tap of his finger, 200,000 contribution points flew out and hovered in the sky. Come. Chu Fengmian did the same. He took out his identity card and pointed his finger. 200,000 contribution points hovered in the sky. Then, he looked at Zhuang Yin and said calmly, I'll let you make the first move. Otherwise, you'll say that I didn't give you a chance. Good. One arrogant kid. Do you think that you're so great after joining the Sacred Dragon sect? Today, I'll tell you that the Sacred Dragon's secret domain isn't a place where you can be so arrogant. Zhuang Yan's face darkened when he heard Chu Fengmian's words. Then his body moved. Countless flames gushed out from his body. These flames were of different colors, but they continuously merged together in Zhuang Yan's hands. There were more than 100 types of flames on his body. The power of a four-tribulation true emperor and the power of the heaven and earth were all on top of it. Raging flames burning the heavens. Rumble. The flames on Zhuang Yan's body swept towards Chu Fengmian as he threw out a punch. The terrifying shockwave forced many of the surrounding Sacred Dragon Mystery Dimension disciples to retreat, afraid that they would be swept into the shockwave. Chu Fengmian, who was standing in front of Zhuang Yan, smirked disdainfully when he saw the sea of flames. He casually grabbed at it with his palm. Boom! Chu Fengmian suddenly caught the ball of flame in his hand. The flame couldn't even burn Chu Fengmian's skin. Chu Fengmian kept fiddling with it in his hand. What? When Zhuang Yin saw Chu Fengmian holding the ball of flame in his hand, he was shocked. His face was filled with disbelief. How could Chu Fengmian easily take his flame? But before he could react, Chu Fengmian had already attacked. Go! Then, Chu Fengmian's palm moved, and the ball of flame flew towards Zhuang Yin. Rumble! The flame that originally belonged to Zhuang Yin became even more terrifying in Chu Fengmian's hands. It immediately engulfed Zhuang Yan's body and continuously burned his skin. Everyone could see that Zhuang Yan's body was still struggling in the flames. It was only when his body was burned that Chu Fengmian slowly pointed his finger and extinguished the flames. Although Zhuang Yan's life was not in danger, this kind of injury was enough for him to recover for a few months. These 200,000 contribution points are mine. Chu Fengmian didn't even look at Zhuang Yan, who had already fallen to the ground. He only made a grabbing motion with his hand, and the contribution points in the sky fell into Chu Fengmian's palm, merging into Chu Fengmian's jade talisman. As for defeating Zhuang Yin, it was simply a trivial matter for Chu Fengmian. He didn't feel the slightest bit of joy. He didn't even turn his head and directly walk towards the palace. Until Chu Fengmian's figure left, many of the Sacred Dragon's Secret Realm disciples seemed to have woken up from a dream. Their faces were filled with incomparable shock. One move. Zhuang Yin couldn't even withstand one move from Chu Fengmian and was instantly killed on the spot. How can this person be so powerful? A Sacred Dragon's Secret Realm disciple stammered. His forehead was covered in cold sweat. Just now, he wanted to challenge Chu Fengmian, but Zhuang Yin beat him to it. Now that he saw Zhuang Yan's miserable appearance, he felt somewhat fortunate that he wasn't the one to challenge Chu Fengmian. Isn't this person only at the immortal realm? However, even more people didn't expect Chu Fengmian to defeat Zhuang Yin. After all, Zhuang Yin was also a direct disciple and a somewhat famous person in the 100 Battles Hall. Moreover, he was defeated with one move. It could be said that it was something that no one present could even dream of. The Sacred Dragon sect has another monstrous genius. This person is even more monstrous than Luo Kong from before. This is too terrifying. He's only a newcomer. How can a newcomer be so terrifying? Looking at Chu Fengmian's departing figure, there was no longer any provocation in their eyes. Instead, there was incomparable fear. Only strength was worthy of respect. Senior brother, your attack just now was a bit too ruthless. You frightened this group of trash. On the other side, Luo Kong, and Chu Fengyan were walking towards the palace. Luo Kong smiled as he chatted with Chu Fengyan. He wasn't surprised by Chu Fengyan's attack. Previously, when Chu Fengyan fought with him, the strength he displayed was much more terrifying than this. Defeating Zhuang Yin was only the tip of the iceberg. I was just testing him. I didn't expect him to be so weak. Hearing Luo Kang's words, Chu Fengyan felt a little helpless. He had only used 10 to 20% of his strength in his attack. In the end, Zhuang Yin couldn't take it. It seemed that his successive encounters with Luo Kong, Qing Meng, and the others had caused Chu Fengyan to misunderstand the disciples of the Sacred Dragon's secret domain. After all, not everyone was as monstrous as the disciples of the Sacred Dragon sect. However, these contribution points are really easy to earn. 200,000 contribution points for a single battle. It would be great if there were more challengers. Chu Fengyan looked at the additional 200,000 contribution points on the Jade Talisman. Chu Fengyan's mood was greatly improved. This method of earning contribution points was simply too fast. It was much faster than hunting demons and working for the sect. Chapter 13:12. Contribution points could not only be exchanged for the enlightenment of the progenitor statue, but also spirit treasures, and other wondrous items. Of course, it wasn't easy to accumulate contribution points. Only by killing devils or doing things for the sect would one be able to earn contribution points or hand over treasures. Even a direct disciple would need several years to accumulate 200,000 contribution points. But now, Chu Fengyan could easily earn 200,000 contribution points from a single battle. It was indeed a great profit. Now, Chu Fengyan wanted more of these provocative martial artists to come. The more, the better. He wouldn't refuse anyone. Senior brother is so ruthless. I'm afraid no one will dare to come in a short period of time. Luo Kong looked at Chu Fengyan and said helplessly. His senior brother was indeed too monstrous. His eternal realm was comparable to a sixth tribulation true emperor. Who would believe this? Moreover, Chu Fengyan had the king of inner demons that even Emperor Gu was extremely wary of. Chu Fengyan could probably contend against Emperor Gu for a bit. Of course, defeating Emperor Gu was something Chu Fengyan couldn't do at the moment. It's fine. If no one comes, I can take the initiative to find someone. Chu Fengyan said with a smile. He could also tell that the disciples of the Sacred Dragon Mystic Realm were all extremely talented and arrogant individuals. As long as I set up a stage, there will be an endless stream of challengers. At that time, I can make a fortune by betting. Set up a stage? That's a good idea. Luo Kong immediately laughed after hearing Chu Fengyan's words. With senior brother's cultivation, I'm afraid there will be a lot of people who don't know the immensity of heaven and earth coming to challenge you. At that time, we'll be rich if each person can earn 200,000 contribution points. If each person was worth 200,000 contribution points, then 10 people would be worth 2 million contribution points. If there was an endless stream of disciples coming to bet, then the wealth would come faster than printing money. Chu Fengyan had come up with the idea of setting up an arena on a whim. Given Chu Fengyan's status as a disciple of the Holy Dragon sect, there were probably countless people who wanted to challenge Chu Fengyan. After all, Chu Fengyan was a disciple of the Holy Dragon sect. Defeating a disciple of the Holy Dragon sect was an honor in the entire Holy Dragon secret realm. They would not let go of such an opportunity to trample on the Holy Dragon sect's disciple. Let's go and study the primogenitor's statue first. Chu Fengyan suppressed this thought for the time being. He and Luo Kong had already arrived in front of the palace. Seeing Chu Fengyan and Luo Kong enter together, many of the Sacred Dragon Secret Dimension disciples within the palace turned to look at them. A Holy Dragon sect disciple? That's Luo Kong, and that's this year's newcomer. I think he's called Chu Fengyan. A newbie actually became a disciple of the Holy Dragon sect. I don't know what kind of luck he has. Many curious gazes looked over. Of course, there were also many hostile gazes, but Chu Fengyan was already used to it. However, inside the palace, no one dared to provoke Chu Fengyan. They were all discussing at the side. Senior brother, come over here. Luo Kong directly called out to Chu Fengyan and led him into the palace. Inside the palace, Chu Fengmian saw many teleportation formations of various sizes. In front of each teleportation formation, there was a stone tablet with something carved on it. Sword Palace? The place where a sword principal expert of the sacred dragon secret dimension, Sword Honorable Dragon Dance, comprehended the Tao. It's enough to comprehend the supreme sword principle. Chu Fengmian casually glanced over and saw the content written on the stone tablet in front of a teleportation formation. The history of the Dragon Dance Sword Venerable was recorded in detail in the book. Sword Honorable Dragon Dance, Emperor Gu of the Nine Tribulations, a half-step heavenly being. He was considered an expert in the history of the sacred dragon secret dimension. His comprehending Tao place had now become a sacred place in the sacred dragon secret dimension, named Sword Palace. At the bottom of the 10 times, there was a number of 30,000 written on it. This meant that it would cost 30,000 contribution points to enter Sword Palace to comprehend the Tao. Of course, other than Sword Palace, the stone tablets in front of each teleportation formation recorded the place behind the teleportation formation. Most of them were the comprehending Tao places of the experts of the sacred dragon secret dimension. An emperor's comprehension of the Tao was enough to affect everything around him. If one cultivated in such a place and carefully comprehended the Tao, it might be enough to comprehend the Tao of that expert. The sacred dragon's secret dimension is truly terrifying. Chu Fengmian carefully looked at the stone tablets. The existences recorded on each tablet were 9 tribulations, true emperors, and half-step geniuses. Half-step celestial being was a person who had surpassed ordinary 9 tribulation ancient emperors. Even Chu Fengmian had never seen such a person before. The strongest expert Chu Fengmian had seen should be the Sword Tao Master. However, Chu Fengmian still didn't know how strong the Sword Tao Master was. After all, what Chu Fengmian knew was the memories of his previous life. At that time, he only knew that the Sword Tao Master was strong, but he didn't know how strong the Sword Tao Master was. However, Chu Fengmian had yet to meet an existence comparable to the Sword Tao Master. How many experts have been born in the sacred dragon secret dimension? Chu Fengmian glanced at the stone tablets. The number of stone tablets was enough to count. This also meant that there were at least thousands of half-step geniuses from the sacred dragon secret dimension. This caused Chu Fengmian to be incomparably shocked. Although he had previously guessed how powerful the sacred dragon secret realm was, this had still exceeded his expectations. Furthermore, the Tao comprehension grounds that had been left behind represented the foundation of the Holy Dragon secret realm. If every disciple of the Holy Dragon secret realm were to comprehend the Tao comprehension grounds, their cultivation speed would definitely be much faster than if they were to cultivate outside. It was even enough to pass down the inheritances of these experts from generation to generation. In this way, the number of experts in the sacred dragon secret dimension would only increase. I wonder what kind of peerless expert the creator of the sacred dragon secret dimension was. I'm afraid he was a heavenly being. Chu Fengmian muttered to himself. Why, senior brother, are you surprised? Luo Kong said with a smile when he saw Chu Fengmian's expression. When I first came here, I was also very surprised. However, later on, I figured it out. The sacred dragon secret dimension has been passed down for hundreds of thousands of years. However, there are only about 1,000 stone tablets here. Only one peerless expert is born every few hundred years. That's not many. 1,000 half-step heavenly beings seem to be a lot. However, the sacred dragon mystery realm was also incomparably ancient. It took several hundred years for such an exceptional expert to be born. There are not many of them. Chapter 13:13. The Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension was big and small. It controlled hundreds of continents. Only geniuses from these hundreds of continents were qualified to become a disciple of the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension. Almost every disciple of the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension was a genius from each continent. There were hundreds of thousands of disciples in the entire Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension. With hundreds of thousands of disciples in the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension, only one half-step to heavenly human would appear every few hundred years. For example, The most outstanding disciple in the current batch of disciples was the Holy Dragon sect's eldest senior brother, Yunzun. Is there a place for our Holy Dragon sect's experts to attain enlightenment here? Chu Fengmian suddenly asked curiously. It suddenly occurred to him that all the Holy Dragon sect's disciples' enlightenment grounds were on the Holy Dragon Peak. Along the way, Chu Fengmian saw the other 3 sects and 8 halls' enlightenment grounds. However, none of them belonged to the Holy Dragon sect's experts. No, although our Holy Dragon sect is a part of the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension, it is in fact beyond the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension. Luo Kong looked at Chu Fengmian and said, "Beyond the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension?" Chu Fengmian was slightly stunned when he heard this. That's right. This is actually related to the history of the Holy Dragon sect. However, for now, although our Holy Dragon sect is part of the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension, we do not occupy the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension's resources. Disciples of the other 3 sects can obtain large amounts of contribution points every year. However, our Holy Dragon sect has to fight for our own resources. Luo Kong explained. In fact, many of our Holy Dragon sect's experts did not die. They left the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension later on. Left the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension? That's possible? Chu Fengmian was even more shocked when he heard this. In such a sect, the biggest taboo was for the sect's disciples to leave. After all, the sect had spent resources to nurture these disciples. Once they left, it would be like they had made a wedding dress for someone else. The other 3 sects and 8 halls cannot do so. However, only our Holy Dragon sect can. After all, we do not occupy the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension's resources. We can leave any time we want. Luo Kong said without any reservations. Actually, eldest senior brother has not returned to the Holy Dragon Mystic Realm for a very long time. Even if he were to return, he would only care about the Holy Dragon sect's matters, and not the Holy Dragon Mystic Realm's matters. Of course, according to the rumors, the few supreme giants of this era were once from our Holy Dragon sect. It's just that we didn't have a chance to meet them. Upon hearing Luo Kang's words, Chu Fengmian suddenly felt that the relationship between the Holy Dragon sect and the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension was not that simple. However, this was not something that Chu Fengmian needed to worry about at the moment. With his current strength, he was still far from being able to establish his own sect. Only when Chu Fengmian stepped into the Sky Human stage in the future would he consider leaving the Sacred Dragon Mystery Plane. Let's go. We should be reaching the primogenitor statue soon. Luo Kong led Chu Fengmian all the way to the end of the palace. There was an incomparably huge stone tablet at the end. There was nothing written on the tablet except for the 2 words Sacred Dragon. The 2 words Sacred Dragon were engraved on the stone tablet. It was as if 2 dragon emperors would break through the sky at any time. Anyone who saw it would feel a chill down their spine. Chu Fengmian took a glance at it and felt the dragon's roar resounding in his mind. According to the legends, the 2 words Sacred Dragon were personally written by the founder of our Holy Dragon Mystery Plane. You can't look at it too often. Once you do, you might faint. Luo Kong said. There's also a rumor in the Holy Dragon Mystery Plane. The 2 words Sacred Dragon on the stone tablet contain a supreme secret technique. However, no one has discovered it since the establishment of the Holy Dragon Mystery Plane. Is that so? Chu Fengmian became even more curious after hearing Luo Kang's words. He looked at the 2 words Sacred Dragon on the stone tablet again. This time, Chu Fengmian quietly activated the power of the Battle Dragon art. Immediately, a scene of a group of dragons roaring appeared in Chu Fengmian's mind. The roars were strong enough to make an ordinary sovereign realm master faint. However, Chu Fengmian endured it and carefully observed the scene. Gradually, Chu Fengmian could see the scene before him clearly amidst the roars of the dragons. Dragons. A group of dragons was flying in the sky. These dragons were not the current generation's true dragons, Tianlong and the others. They were ancient battle dragons. All of them were ancient battle dragons. There were even many ancient dragon kings and dragon emperors among them. At the center of the group of dragons was an incomparably huge existence. This existence was enough to be called a colossus in the galaxy. The enormous dragon tribe was 30,000 miles long. It emitted an ancient, majestic aura, as if it was the ruler of this world. Ancestor Tianlong, Chu Fengyan exclaimed. Only the ancestor of all dragons, Tianlong, could emit such a majestic aura. This is the country of 10,000 dragons. It was recorded in history that the dragon tribe had established a huge country called the Country of 10,000 Dragons at its peak. In that era, the Country of 10,000 Dragons was known as an invincible existence. All the tribes in the world were slaves of the dragon tribe in the Country of 10,000 Dragons. They occupied the endless starry sky. However, after the fall of ancestor Tianlong, the Country of 10,000 Dragons was destroyed. The scene that Chu Fengyan saw now was definitely the scene of the Country of 10,000 Dragons. Roar! Just as Chu Fengyan was planning to continue watching, the ancestral heavenly dragons suddenly roared, causing Chu Fengyan to feel a wave of dizziness. Chu Fengyan hurriedly closed his eyes, dispelling the scene in front of him. "Did you see anything?" Luo Kong, who was beside Chu Fengyan, asked curiously. Most of the disciples who came to comprehend the statue would also take a look at the stone tablet in front of them. Of course, most of them came up empty-handed. Dragon roar, roar of 10,000 dragons. Chu Fengyan looked at Luo Kong and slowly opened his mouth. He was still recalling the scene just now. The Country of 10,000 Dragons. This was the first time Chu Fengyan saw the scene of the Country of 10,000 Dragons. It was even more glorious and terrifying than what was recorded in the ancient books. The stone tablet recorded the scene of the Country of 10,000 Dragons. There must be something hidden in it. However, Chu Fengyan's strength was not enough to withstand the impact of his consciousness. He could not continue watching. Roar of 10,000 dragons? Senior brother, you indeed have the bloodline of ancestor Tianlong. It's not easy to see this scene. Luo Kong exclaimed after hearing Chu Fengyan's words. In the history of the Holy Dragon Secret Domain, less than 100 people were able to see this scene. Chapter 13-14. There's still a long way to go before I can truly comprehend it. Chu Fengyan only smiled at Luo Kang's words. There was no point in looking at this scene. That's true. However, it's already very good that senior brother can comprehend it to this extent. You should know that many heavenly beings have tried to comprehend it, but failed. Luo Kong said, Senior brother, you should go and comprehend the primogenitor statue. It's not that difficult to comprehend. Many disciples of the Thousand Dragon Hall have benefited greatly from it. What about you? There was a teleportation array in front of Chu Fengyan. He could enter it and comprehend the primogenitor statue. I'm going to comprehend the Tao in another place. I won't be following senior brother. Luo Kong pointed at the teleportation array beside him and said, All right. Chu Fengyan nodded. The more he knew about the sacred dragon's secret realm, the more curious he was. There must be many shocking secrets hidden in the sacred dragon's secret realm. Luo Kong waved his hand and left. Chu Fengyan and Luo Kong parted ways and walked towards the teleportation array. The moment he stepped into it, the world around him started to spin. When he opened his eyes again, the scenery around him was completely different. He had arrived in a small world. There was a valley in this small world. The stone dragon statue was located in the valley. An old man was sitting at the entrance of the valley. He seemed to be in a deep sleep. However, Chu Fengyan could tell that the old man was definitely an Emperor Gu. He was even more powerful than the Emperor Gu from Song, Zhu Emperor Gu. Oh, someone's here to comprehend the primogenitor statue? The old man slowly woke up when Chu Fengyan walked over. He glanced at Chu Fengyan and noticed the jade talisman on Chu Fengyan's chest. His eyes were slightly awakened. Disciple of the Sacred Dragon Sect? You must be a newcomer this year. 100,000 contribution points for one day. How long do you need to comprehend it? 100,000 contribution points for one day? Even though Chu Fengyan knew that the primogenitor statue was expensive, he didn't expect that 100,000 contribution points would only be enough for one day. Now, Chu Fengyan only had one. 5 million contribution points, including the 200,000 contribution points he won from Zhuang Yin. This amount of contribution points was enough to match the entire savings of a true disciple. This also meant that he was qualified to meditate for half a month. Expensive, too expensive. Chu Fengmian could not help but think to himself. No wonder it was said that it was difficult to progress in the sacred dragon mystery realm without contribution points. Contribution points were simply too cheap. However, the primogenitor statue was extremely attractive to Chu Fengmian. No matter how expensive it was, Chu Fengmian had to go. A total of 14 days. Here is a primogenitor statue meditation token and 1,300,000 contribution points. Chu Fengmian clenched his teeth and took out the primogenitor statue comprehension medallion and 1,300,000 contribution points. He only had 200,000 contribution points left for emergencies. A newbie actually has so many contribution points? The elder glanced at Chu Fengmian and handed over a jade token with a smile. Go! After 14 days, the jade token's effect will disappear and you will be automatically sent out. Thank you, elder. Chu Fengmian took the jade token and said. He then walked towards the valley. The elder was still half lying on the chair, as if he had fallen asleep again. He didn't care about what was going on. Chu Fengmian held the jade token and slowly walked into the valley. The valley seemed to be shrouded in a huge spirit design. Without the jade talisman, even the ancient emperor would not be able to barge in. He would be bounced back by the spirit design. Chu Fengmian held the jade token in his hand. Along the way, no one stopped him as he slowly walked into the valley. In the deepest part of the valley, a 1,000-mile stone dragon statue lay quietly. Although it was just a stone statue, the moment Chu Fengmian saw it, he felt as if the real primogenitor Tianlong was standing in front of him. The stone statue was so lifelike that every detail was exactly the same as the real primogenitor Tianlong. Chu Fengmian didn't notice this at first, but when he saw the scene of the country of 10,000 dragons on the stone tablet outside, he also saw the real primogenitor Tianlong. Only then did Chu Fengmian notice that this 1,000-mile-long stone dragon statue was simply identical to the real ancestral heavenly dragon. There wasn't the slightest difference. The entire 1,000-mile stone dragon statue contained a terrifying dragon aura, emitting a terrifying aura that made one's heart palpitate. In front of this terrifying dragon aura, Chu Fengmian's battle dragon bloodline boiled, almost turning him into a dragon. This is the real primogenitor Tianlong. The stone dragon statue in front of him looked almost identical to the real primogenitor Tianlong. Although Chu Fengmian had seen the real ancestral sky dragon in his mind before, it had only been a fleeting moment. Now, the stone dragon statue was lying quietly in front of Chu Fengmian. Chu Fengmian could vaguely see the moment when the primogenitor Tianlong dominated the horizon. The primogenitor Tianlong could easily tear a continent apart. Chu Fengmian even saw the primogenitor Tianlong crush a plane with a single move. Continents were just toys in front of him. This is the ancestor of all dragons, the foundation of the dragon race. When Chu Fengmian saw the image of the ancestral celestial dragon, he realized that in front of the ancestral celestial dragon, no one from the dragon tribe was worthy of the word dragon. The ancestral celestial dragon was unique. Chu Fengmian had once comprehended a few of the primogenitor Tianlong's moves through his bloodline. However, when he saw the primogenitor Tianlong execute them personally, Chu Fengmian realized that his moves were full of flaws and couldn't withstand a single blow. Even the battle dragon claw, which Chu Fengmian used the most, couldn't compare to a billionth of the might of the primogenitor Tianlong. It wasn't just in terms of power, but also in terms of technique. So that's how it is. Chu Fengmian repeatedly comprehended the image of the primogenitor Tianlong in his mind. As he watched each move repeatedly, his mind became enlightened. Battle Dragon Claw go. Rumble. The Battle Dragon Claw condensed above Chu Fengmian's head once again and struck forward. This time, the Battle Dragon Claw was completely different from before. Although it was the same move, its form and charm were completely different. This was the true martial technique of the dragon race. Chu Fengmian's previous moves were simply reckless. Chapter 13:15. After all, Chu Fengmian was not a member of the Dragon Clan. Without the guidance of an expert from the Dragon Clan, his Dragon Clan martial skills were entirely based on his own exploration. Although there were no problems when Chu Fengmian used them normally, the Dragon Clan martial skills that Chu Fengmian used would appear incomparably crude in comparison. However, the primogenitor statue was the best teacher for Chu Fengmian. Chu Fengmian only needed to comprehend it over and over again, and it would be enough for Chu Fengmian to have an epiphany and find the flaws. 30%. The power of the Battle Dragon Claw has increased by 30%. Although Chu Fengmian had only comprehended it for a short while, the power of the Battle Dragon Claw had increased by 30%. Of course, this was also because the Battle Dragon Claw that Chu Fengmian had used previously was too crude, and there was still a lot of room for improvement. Coming to the Sacred Dragon's secret domain is definitely a heaven-sent opportunity. If I can take this stone dragon statue away and comprehend it at any time, it will be a real opportunity. Chu Fengmian's gaze fell on the stone dragon statue. This stone dragon statue was definitely a priceless treasure for Chu Fengmian. No, it should be said that this stone dragon statue was a priceless treasure for all members of the Dragon Clan. This stone dragon statue was definitely not an ordinary statue. It contained the dragon might of primogenitor Tianlong. It could even comprehend the scene of primogenitor Tianlong's battle. According to the rumors, this stone dragon statue was personally carved by primogenitor Tianlong. Chu Fengmian did not believe it at first, but now he was almost convinced. It's impossible for me to take this stone dragon statue away. Chu Fengmian observed his surroundings. This small world seemed peaceful, but in fact, it was full of restrictive formations. Even Chu Fengmian could not see some of the restrictive formations clearly. However, Chu Fengmian knew that even if the 9 tribulations Emperor Gu came, he would not be able to snatch this stone dragon statue away. Of course, even a heavenly being would have to think twice. It was impossible for Chu Fengmian to snatch it away now. It's better for me to properly comprehend it. Since this is the Holy Dragon Mystery Ground, as long as I have sufficient contribution points, I can continue to comprehend it. When Chu Fengmian recalled the strength of the Sacred Dragon Mystery Plane, he suppressed the thought. At the very least, if Chu Fengmian wanted to snatch the 1,000-kilometer stone dragon statue, it would be no different from committing suicide. Moreover, the 1,000-mile stone dragon statue had been in the Sacred Dragon Mystery Dimension for hundreds of thousands of years and would not run away. Chu Fengmian's mind calmed down again. He sat in front of the 1,000-mile stone dragon statue and began to comprehend. Every move was constantly changing in Chu Fengmian's mind. The aura on his body was also constantly changing. From time to time, he would unleash a dragon race martial technique. As Xiao Chun executed the dragon race martial techniques, he compared them to find the flaws of Chu Fengmian's dragon race martial techniques. 9 moves of the primogenitor. The longer Chu Fengmian studied the stone dragon statue, the more things he could glean from it. Chu Fengmian vaguely understood the existence of the 9 forms of the primogenitor. All dragon race martial techniques were derived from the 9 forms of the primogenitor. For example, the Battle Dragon Claw and the Sky Ripping Claw were all part of the first form of the 9 forms of the primogenitor. The Sky Ripping Claw was the essence of the first form. Now that Chu Fengmian had repeatedly executed and comprehended it, he finally comprehended the first form of the 9 forms of the primogenitor. Chu Fengmian slowly stood up and looked before him. The Battle Dragon bloodline in his body was pushed to the limit. First form. His right hand suddenly turned into a dragon claw. With 40,000 formations covering it, the dragon claw before him was like the real primogenitor Tianlong's dragon claw. Rumble. Chu Fengmian's body moved. He activated the claw and attacked forward. A terrifying dragon's might was unleashed from Chu Fengmian's body. It turned into a 7-colored light and merged with the claw. Behind Chu Fengmian, one could faintly see the shadow of a huge dragon. Kacha! An explosion resounded across the world. Violent shockwaves swept out in all directions. Wherever the claw passed, space would be torn apart and shattered. Fortunately, the valley was strengthened by countless restrictive formations. Otherwise, the power of the claw would be enough to completely tear the valley apart. Even a sixth tribulation true emperor would be torn apart in front of Chu Fengmian. Just how powerful was this? Keep in mind that Chu Fengmian hasn't activated his soaring serpent bloodline. Just the power of Tianlong's bloodline alone was enough. Such a powerful move, worthy of being the origin of the dragon race's martial techniques. When Chu Fengmian saw the power of this move, he was incomparably astonished. This was the power of the first move, the martial skill created by the ancestor Sky Dragon. However, Chu Fengmian's body soon felt empty and incomparably tired. For a warrior at Chu Fengmian's level, his body would almost never feel tired. But after using the first move of this move, Chu Fengmian still felt tired. This was the reason why Chu Fengmian's energy was depleted. Of course, this feeling was different from when he used the Emperor Jar. The Emperor Jar would drain Chu Fengmian of his spiritual power, while the first move would drain the power of the ancestral Sky Dragon bloodline in Chu Fengmian. Chu Fengmian sat in the same place for more than 10 minutes before he completely recovered. 10 minutes wasn't a long time, but it was fatal in a battle. After using this move, Chu Fengmian wouldn't be able to use any dragon race martial techniques for the next 10 minutes. This wasn't a big deal for Chu Fengmian. His bloodline wasn't only Tianlong's, he also had his own Tao of the sword. However, this move could only be used at a critical moment. In addition to comprehending the first form of the 9 forms of the primogeniture, Chu Fengmian's dragon race martial techniques were completely different from before. The power of his battle dragon claw was at least twice as strong as before. Although Chu Fengmian's cultivation realm didn't change, coming to the primogeniture statue to comprehend had brought him great benefits. Whoosh! At this moment, the jade token on Chu Fengmian's body suddenly shattered. Then, Chu Fengmian was directly sent flying out of the valley by a force. Is 14 days up already? Chu Fengmian stood outside the valley and looked at the remaining 200,000 contribution points in his jade token. He felt a little pained. After spending 1.3 million contribution points and obtaining the primogeniture statue comprehension token, Chu Fengmian had only managed to obtain 14 days to comprehend the primogeniture statue in the blink of an eye. Chapter 13:16. It seems that I will need a lot of contribution points to fully comprehend the 9 moves of the primogeniture. Chu Fengmian looked back at the primogeniture statue and couldn't help but sigh. His harvest in the past 14 days was already huge. Not to mention comprehending the first move of the 9 moves of the primogeniture. Even perfecting the Dragon Clan martial technique was worth it for Chu Fengmian. Not to mention, Chu Fengmian had also comprehended the 9 moves of the primogeniture. Although Chu Fengmian had only comprehended the first move, it was still an opening. As long as Chu Fengmian continued to comprehend it, he would be able to comprehend the second and third moves. After all, Chu Fengmian had the bloodline of the primogeniture Tianlong. His comprehension speed was already extremely amazing. Other disciples of the Sacred Dragon's secret domain who came to comprehend the primogeniture statue were mostly perfecting their martial techniques. No one had heard of anyone who could comprehend the 9 moves of the primogeniture. The only thing that gave Chu Fengmian a headache was the contribution points. Comprehending the statue for a day required 100,000 contribution points. Chu Fengmian had obtained more than 1 million contribution points from killing the Demon Clan in the Nether Ghost region. Moreover, it wasn't just Chu Fengmian himself who had killed the Demon Clan. Most of the contribution points were obtained from young noble Shui. If Chu Fengmian went to the Nether Ghost realm by himself, it would take him at least several dozen days to accumulate 100,000 contribution points. Compared to others, this speed was already astonishing, but for Chu Fengmian, it was still too slow. Chu Fengmian didn't have time to waste on such things. Moreover, he had offended the young emperor. Unless it was a last resort, Chu Fengmian didn't intend to go to the Nether Ghost region before he could protect himself. It seems that the plan I thought of before can be realized. Chu Fengmian's eyes flickered. After facing Zhuang Yan's provocation, Chu Fengmian suddenly thought of the plan. It seemed that it was faster to earn contribution points directly from others. Chu Fengmian thought as he walked out of the valley. Outside, the old man was still half asleep on the chair. In the past 14 days, Chu Fengmian was the only one who came to comprehend the primogenitor statue. After all, it would cost 100,000 contribution points to comprehend each time. Most of the Sacred Dragon Mystery Ground's core disciples could not afford it. Only martial practitioners and demonic immortals like Chu Fengmian who possessed the dragon bloodline would come here. You're out. Just as Chu Fengmian was about to leave, the old man suddenly woke up and said, "How is it? I've comprehended something." Chu Fengmian was unsure of the old man's attitude, but he still replied respectfully. After all, the old man was an expert of Emperor Gu. At the very least, he was a supreme elder of the Sacred Dragon's secret domain. Not bad. Looks like the primogenitor bloodline in your body was not wasted. If you have contribution points in the future, you should come and study it. The old man glanced at Chu Fengmian, then closed his eyes and went back to sleep. These words confused Chu Fengmian. However, Chu Fengmian did not pay much attention to them. He stepped into the teleportation array and left. The world was spinning. The scene in front of Chu Fengmian suddenly changed, and he returned to the palace. When Chu Fengmian left, he saw a flash on the jade talisman. It was a message from Luo Kong, informing Chu Fengmian that he had already left and returned to the Holy Dragon sect. I'll return to the Holy Dragon sect later. I have to earn some contribution points first. Chu Fengmian's eyes flashed. After studying the primogenitor statue, Chu Fengmian knew that there were many benefits, so he naturally wouldn't let them go. After leaving the Sacred Dragon's secret domain, Chu Fengmian would no longer have such benefits. He had to study the statue a few more times in order to comprehend a few more of the 9 forms of the primogenitor. The power of the 9 forms of the primogenitor would increase exponentially. The 9th form was said to be able to tear apart a continent and crush a planet. If one could learn it, they would be comparable to the real primogenitor Tianlong. I heard that Mu Bai has already reached the Emperor realm. He's comparable to a 4-tribulation true emperor right after entering the Emperor realm. No wonder he's a genius of the 4 sections. When Chu Fengmian was about to leave, he suddenly heard the discussion of the people next to him. Oh, a newcomer who just broke through and is already a 4-tribulation true emperor? He's indeed a devilish genius. After all, he's a member of the Mu family. It's normal for him to be extremely talented. I heard that Mu Bai's title as the newcomer king was snatched away by someone called Chu Fengmian. Chu Fengmian even joined the Sacred Dragon sect and suppressed Mu Bai for a while. That's why Mu Bai worked so hard to break through. This year's newcomers are indeed not bad. There are 2 geniuses of the 4 sections. I wonder who's the real number 1. If it was before, Chu Fengmian would definitely be stronger. But this time, Mu Bai seized the opportunity and stepped into the Emperor realm. His strength has increased by 10 times, so he should be the one who is stronger now. Many disciples of the Sacred Dragon's secret domain were discussing this. At this moment, a figure slowly walked in. Some of the disciples of the Sacred Dragon's secret domain went over and spoke. Congratulations, senior brother Mu Xian. The Mu family has produced another genius this year. The person who came in was none other than Mu Xian. Now, many disciples of the Sacred Dragon's secret domain came to congratulate him. Mu Xian was a genius of the 6 ultimate sect, one of the 4 sections. Behind him was the Mu family, a huge family. Many disciples wanted to curry favor with him. Even if they didn't ask for anything, it was still a good thing to have a good relationship with him. But now, Mu Xian's face was obviously not looking good. Ever since he was almost defeated by Chu Fengmian's Heart Demon King, Mu Xian's face had always been like this. His heart was filled with endless anger. After all, if not for his master, Emperor Gu Fangguang, who dared to come, Mu Xian would have lost his life on the spot. Just as his gaze swept across the crowd, it suddenly locked onto a figure walking over. Chu Fengmian, it's you? Mu Xian spoke with an extremely gloomy voice. But under this gloomy voice, Everyone could hear the accumulated anger in Mu Xian's voice. You still dare to come and comprehend? The accumulated anger in his heart was completely ignited the moment he saw Chu Fengmian's figure. A terrifying power surged out from Mu Xian's body. He was almost trapped by his heart demon. Now that he was exposed, his strength seemed to have improved. This terrifying power caused some of the weaker disciples to be unable to breathe. Why wouldn't I dare? Didn't you open this Tao Enlightenment Palace? Hearing Mu Xian's words, Chu Fengmian did not hold back. Chu Fengmian's attitude was like this. If he respected him, Chu Fengmian would return it 3 times. As for an enemy like Mu Xian, Chu Fengmian would not give him any face. Chapter 13:17. That's Chu Fengmian. I heard that this year's newcomer king joined the Holy Dragon sect. He dares to talk to senior brother Mu Xian like that. Even if he's a disciple of the Holy Dragon sect, he shouldn't be so arrogant. Many of the Holy Dragon Mystery Grounds disciples turned their gazes toward Chu Fengmian. Their eyes flickered as they sized him up. Only at the Eternal Realm? Not even a quasi-emperor? He's qualified to join the Holy Dragon sect? He can't be underestimated. I heard that he defeated Zhuang Yan. Defeated Zhuang Yan? That's nothing. Zhuang Yan is a big shot in the 8 halls, but in the 4 sects, he's not even an ordinary disciple. He's only a 4 tribulation true emperor. Even Mu Bai can defeat him. Many disciples here were hostile towards Chu Fengmian. Some of them even had a hint of jealousy in their tone. The Holy Dragon sect disciples were the source of their jealousy. In their eyes, Chu Fengmian wasn't qualified to join the sect. After all, many of the Holy Dragon sect's disciples were geniuses from the other 3 sections. These people were famous before joining the Holy Dragon sect. Chu Fengmian was only a newcomer. What qualifications did he have to join the Holy Dragon sect? Brat, you tricked me this time. I haven't had the time to settle the score with you yet, but you still dare to come out. Mu Xian's cold eyes glared at Chu Fengmian. The murderous intent in his eyes showed that he wanted nothing more than to kill Chu Fengmian right now. He and Chu Fengmian simply had an irreconcilable grudge. Oh, I didn't expect that you haven't turned into the servant of the Heart Devil. It seems that I've underestimated you. Chu Fengmian smirked after hearing Mu Xian's murderous intent. You haven't learned your lesson yet? You still dare to come in front of me? Damn it. Damn it. When Mu Xian heard these words, the murderous intent in his body boiled, and his eyes were filled with murderous intent. As a disciple of the 6 Ultimate Sect and a 5 Tribulation True Emperor, he could completely crush Chu Fengmian in terms of cultivation. However, he almost died at the hands of Chu Fengmian's Heart Devil. It should be said that if it wasn't for Emperor Gu of Fanguang, he would have died in Chu Fengmian's hands. This was a grudge and also a humiliation. As a genius of the 4 sects, when had he ever suffered such humiliation? Ever since he was rescued by Emperor Gu, Fanguang, his heart had been burning with rage. He could not wait to kill Chu Fengmian and the Holy Dragon sect. Now that he heard Chu Fengmian's words and even dared to expose his scars, Mu Xian wanted nothing more than to attack. However, the moment his spiritual energy erupted, a large hand appeared out of thin air and directly suppressed Mu Xian's spiritual energy. At the same time, an authoritative voice was heard. No fighting is allowed in the Tao Enlightenment Palace. This voice was like an iron order. Even Mu Xian did not dare to cross the line. Mu Xian coldly snorted as the spiritual energy in his hand gradually dissipated. This was the Tao Enlightenment Palace, which could be said to be the most unfathomable place in the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension. He did not dare to attack here and could only glare fiercely at Chu Fengmian as he coldly snorted. I'll spare your life today. I don't believe that you'll stay in this Tao Enlightenment Palace for the rest of your life. If you dare to leave, don't blame me for being impolite. The threat in Mu Xian's words was self-evident. Many disciples of the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension could not help but look at Chu Fengmian when they heard this. Their eyes were filled with schadenfreude. They did not understand the grudge between Chu Fengmian and Mu Xian. However, since Mu Xian had said such words, it also proved his determination. In the future, Chu Fengmian would have to at least avoid Mu Xian in the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension. Even though the Holy Dragon sect was powerful, Chu Fengmian was still a newcomer. In this way, it would be difficult for him to take a single step in the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension in the future. Is that so? You're just a mad dog. How dare you spout nonsense here? Chu Fengmian looked at Mu Xian and said coldly, "Didn't you want to kill me? Do you dare to fight in the life and death arena? Do you dare to fight in the life and death arena?" Hearing this, everyone was stunned for a moment. They were all speechless, especially when these words came out of Chu Fengmian's mouth. They could understand if it was Mu Xian who said it, but now it was Chu Fengmian who said it. Originally, Chu Fengmian already had a way out. After all, the Tao Enlightenment Hall prohibited disciples from fighting in the Holy Dragon Mystery Dimension. But now, Chu Fengmian actually took the initiative to provoke Mu Xian. After a brief silence, the crowd was in an uproar. Is this brat crazy? Is he courting death? An eternal cultivator challenging a 5-tribulation true emperor? Even if the Holy Dragon Sect's disciples are all monstrous geniuses, none of them can do this. A newcomer who joined the Holy Dragon Sect is bound to be arrogant. Who would have thought that it doesn't know the immensity of the heaven and earth? Looks like this newcomer is about to fall. Everyone looked at Chu Fengmian with ridicule in their eyes. In their eyes, Chu Fengmian was courting death. An eternal cultivator daring to challenge a 5-tribulation true emperor? Even a fool wouldn't say such a thing. There was no turning back now, especially when Chu Fengmian took the initiative to say it. What? You don't dare to accept? Chu Fengmian continued after seeing that Mu Xian didn't speak. If you don't dare to accept, then kneel now, and I can spare your life. Mu Xian's eyes flashed coldly after hearing this. Brat, I originally wanted to let you go, but it seems like you're courting death. Don't blame me then. Isn't this the life and death arena? Come. Mu Xian's eyes flashed with disdain. He lost to Chu Fengmian not because of Chu Fengmian, but because of the king of the inner demon. Now his Tao heart was firm. Even the king of the inner demon wouldn't be able to affect him like last time. As for Chu Fengmian, he was only an eternal cultivator and didn't put him in his eyes. Mu Xian's figure flashed and took the lead to walk out of the Tao Enlightenment Palace. He glanced at Chu Fengmian, then turned into an escape light and said coldly, "I'll wait for you at the life and death arena." Whoosh! After saying that, Mu Xian turned into an escape light and flew into the sky. Chu Fengmian followed closely behind. He also turned into an escape light and flew towards the life and death arena. They're really going to fight. A newcomer dares to challenge senior brother Mu Xian to the life and death arena. Let's go and see how this brat dies. If he dies, he'll definitely be the shortest-lived disciple of the Holy Dragon Sect. Let's go and see. Many disciples of the Holy Dragon Secret Realm also activated their escape light and flew towards the life and death arena. They also wanted to see with their own eyes how Chu Fengmian, a disciple of the Holy Dragon Sect, would die. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.